Hi, my name is David Rippy. I am a certified hypnotherapist. Luisa at Harvest Passion, who I did a show with recently, was excited about doing a past life regression. For those not familiar, a past life regression is where I bring someone into a deep hypnotic state where they can provide details of previous lives. Louisa was able to recount 4 very interesting past lives, and in several of them, she was a mystic and a seer. She also discovered that a person she knows in this life she has had several previous lives with. The hypnotic induction was left out, and in hypnotic induction is the various techniques that I use to bring a client into a deep hypnotic state. Enjoy. Feeling yourselves getting more and more relaxed. And as we drift away gently from the tree, we begin to feel ourselves drifting over this beautiful field of wildflowers. And now it's becoming less dusk, and we're feeling a little bit of the sun's rays coming inside the pod. Not too hot, just perfect. Perfect temperature regulation. And you can feel the golden light coming into your cells, seeing it re-energize your bodies. You're drifting along this beautiful field of flowers. As we count from 3 to 1, you're feeling yourself over this beautiful field. 3 down to 2, drifting down deeper and deeper as the images become clearer and clearer. And as we count down to 1, you can begin to feel, you can see certain flowers beneath you, kind of know what they are. You can feel the beautiful sunlight coming into the pod. You're feeling so relaxed. And this field of flowers is so immense and so beautiful, and you're just drifting along above it very slowly, feeling yourself on this gentle breeze. It's kind of taking you along, and you're drifting down deeper and deeper, and you can feel this beautiful light coming in, and you feel so relaxed. It feels so good inside. All the tension, all the anxiety and stress from the week, the day, the month, and the year is just draining away as you feel the immortality. You feel yourself becoming more divine. And you're enjoying the clarity and sense of now that you can see as we count to 1. And as you're drifting down deeper and deeper over this beautiful field of flowers, I want you to tell me, can you see any flowers?
I can just see the tips of the flowers in the sunlight.
Good. And what kind of flowers? What colors?
Um, Yellow,
Okay.
maybe white.
All right. And how do they look? Are they just spread out in all directions and you're really enjoying this little bit of a ride?
Yeah, it's like a field of flowers, but it's more of a light shining on them.
Good. So I want you to continue to just drift down, allowing yourself to relax, drifting down deeper and deeper. And as you're drifting down, you can feel yourself sinking even deeper into your bed, feeling the mattress sort of like this beautiful golden healing light. And as you're drifting down deeper and deeper, the images are becoming more clear even in the field. You can see the sunlight lighting them up in front of you as you continue to just drift along very slowly. And in your mind, roughly how far above the field do you feel you are?
I feel I'm in the field.
Okay, you're in the field. And how are you in the flowers? Are you rightly slightly above them, or where are you? Where's the pod?
Oh, I'm still in the pod.
Yeah, or do you feel yourself coming out of the pod and you're just floating above the flowers now?
Yes, I'm not very far above the flowers.
Okay, so you're just kind of gliding along above the flowers.
Just, I don't know, resting. Just
Okay.
there.
All right, well, good. Well, I want you to continue to rest and just relax and allow yourself to drift down deeper and deeper. And you're feeling yourself relaxing, sort of in, I guess, in the middle of this field, do you think, roughly? Or
I feel I'm at the top of the field where the flowers start.
okay. Well, I want you to go and just drift down very gently this time, just a little bit above the flowers. Stay in the pod or on your golden mattress and just kind of drift along above them, maybe a couple of feet. And while you're drifting down deeper and deeper above this beautiful field, I want you to start to come toward the end of the flowers. And where they end, it's going to be this beautiful green grassy land. And that's all we're going to see. And I want you to drift down deeper and deeper. Really slowly, I want you to drift from the flowers above the green field. And tell me when you're starting to see the green field.
I can see it.
All right, good. And how long is the grass roughly? Is it very short, or is it a little bit wavy and long, or how would you describe it?
It's not wavy and long, it's short.
All right, good. Well, I want you to just drift along above it very slowly. And just kind of relax and just enjoy, just slink down, allowing yourself to drift down. Allowing yourself just to let go to the images and surrender to what you see, and describe it in all the detail you can have. So I want to drift that pod as we're drifting down deeper and deeper. And we're going to drift it along the field, maybe a couple of feet above, not very high above it. And I want to come all the way up closer to where we see almost this huge translucent screen at the end of the field. And I want you to kind of set the pod down very gently as you drift down deeper and deeper. And as you drift down, let me know when the pod's only like a foot off the grass.
In front of the screen?
Yeah, or maybe 10 or 20 feet from the screen.
Okay.
So I want you to kind of visualize that as you drift down deeper and deeper. Because you can kind of see through the pod. It's kind of translucent. It's a little, not super clear, but there's a screen in front of you. I mean, it's just so big, you can't miss it. So I want you to step out. What you're going to see is you're going to see this door opening up on the side of the pod. I want you to just relax, and I want you to gather your strength. And remember, you have a golden suit on. So there's nothing that's going to bother you. And I want you to step out of the pod onto the grass. And I want you to look at the translucent screen that's maybe 10 feet in front of you, maybe 15 or 20. And just kind of stand there as you're drifting down and getting your bearings. So tell me when you've stepped out and you're standing on the grass.
I've stepped out, but I don't necessarily need to stand with my feet.
Oh, okay, so you're not standing on your feet, but you feel like maybe you're just kind of floating above the grass a little bit?
Well, I can just direct where I want to go.
Good. So you can direct where you want to go. So I want you to go, and as I count from 3 down to 2 to 1, I want you to go right in front of the screen and stand in front of it. And let me know when you're there.
Okay, I'm there.
Good. So I want you to kind of look at the screen. And as I count down from 3 to 2, I want you to start to go through the screen. And it's a huge screen. It's like a living plasma screen. It's pretty cool. So from 3 down to 2, you step through it, counting down to 1. You're feeling more and more relaxed. You're seeing the images open up. I want you to step through the screen and stand on the other side. And then I want you to stand there and get your bearings as you drift down deeper and deeper. And the images are becoming more and more clear on the other side of the screen you're on. And don't forget, I told you have a protected golden suit on. You can't be seen. Nobody can get near you or anything. You're just observing. So I want you to stand on that side of the screen as you're drifting down deeper and deeper, feeling the images opening up more and more. And I want you to tell me, do you see yourself on the other side of the screen, and what's in front of you if you had to look out with your mind's eye?
I'm standing on sandstone, but it's dark.
Okay, so it's like is it dark sandstone or is it dark outside?
No, sorry, it's dark outside.
Dark
I'm standing
outside.
on rocks, but it's completely dark.
Perfect. Now I want you to stand there for a minute and get your bearings. It's completely dark. You're standing on rocks. I want you to look down at your feet. Are you in a form now? Are you a human form now?
Yes.
Okay. So. And I want you to just kind of stand and relax as you're drifting down deeper and deeper, becoming more and more relaxed. And as you become more relaxed and you're sinking down deeper and deeper, you're going to start to see images of this life. You're going to see yourself, what you're wearing. And I want you to tell me as you're standing there, and the images are getting brighter and brighter, you're feeling more, you're assimilating more with the environment. I want you to tell me, do you see shoes on your feet or are you barefoot?
It's hard to tell the form, but I'm definitely not wearing shoes. Because I
Okay.
can feel the, I
Okay.
can feel the stone on my
Well, I want you to
bottom of.
do that. I want you to do that for me. I want you just to continue to go forward. Let's walk down the stone a little bit. Just take your time. Now, is the stone, is it a road or is it on the side of a hill or is it just a big open stony place? Or how would you, where does this lead us? Where does this stone take
I
us?
don't know. It's still very dark. Like it's very dark.
Okay, it's
It's
very
very hard to
dark.
see.
Okay.
And
Well,
when I bend, when I look down, it's almost like not that I'm falling, but it just the angle seems very strange.
okay. Well,
Like I'm tipping over, but it feels like I'm not on a roller coaster, but it just feels strange that I'm looking down.
okay. Well, let's don't take any more steps. Let's just stand right there on, not too close to the edge. Okay. I don't want you getting anxious about it or feel like you're falling over. Let's just stand there and relax, feeling that immortal golden suit on, knowing we can do whatever we want. We're just viewing this life. So as you're standing there in the dark on this stone with your feet, you said you could feel the rocks under your feet. I want you just to look ahead, and I want the images to get brighter and brighter. So we're going to be going from a nighttime scene more into like dawn, where we're starting to see the sun coming up a little bit. We're just kind of relaxing. And I want you to tell me as we count from 3 down to 2, you're seeing it get lighter and lighter. As we count down to 1, things are getting more and more light. And I want you to just stand there on the edge, on your, on the stone. And as things start to get lighter, I want you to let me know if they're getting lighter. Are you starting to see it get lighter?
Yeah, I'm trying to see it, but it just looks like blackness and even stars, maybe.
Okay. Well, let's kind of look at that. And you felt like you were standing on rocks. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, while you're standing there and it's still dark, and the mind's eye is not quite giving us the lighted area yet. Let me just ask you this intuitively. Does this area ever get light, in your opinion, if you've been here before? Do you feel like you've ever known light to hit that stone path, that stone area?
I think the sun has. It's not that I'm afraid. It's not that I don't mind looking down. It just feels like there's an unusual gravity, that's all.
Okay.
The perception of balance is different.
All right. Does it feel like you're on Earth, maybe, or somewhere else? What would you say?
I don't know. It's hard to say, but I guess I could be on the edge of a cliff.
Okay. Well, let's kind of explore that for a moment. You're kind of standing here, but you said you could feel the rocks under your feet. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, if you step back away from the cliff edge, if you think it's a cliff, I want you to step back about 5 or 10 feet away from the edge. So step farther back. And if you have to, I want you to sit down, if it's not too uncomfortable, there's kind of a flat rock, and to kind of sit down. And I want you just to drift down deeper and deeper, feeling relaxed. You feel like there might be a cliff in front of you and it's still dark out, but I want you just to relax and drift down deeper and deeper. And on your body, did you feel like you had a certain outfit on or not? Do you see a form of a shape of an outfit on your body or not?
No.
Okay, so you feel like maybe you're just a consciousness pretty much, but you could feel your feet, right?
I'm just a consciousness, yes. I'm not afraid of falling.
Okay.
But it just feels like it doesn't feel like a normal me walking. It just feels there's no up and down, for example. It feels strange.
Okay,
If that makes sense. There's no.
Yeah, how big is your form, do you think? How big does it look to you if we had to put it in feet? Like how big do you radiate, do you think?
I'm very big and strong.
Okay. Now, are you a male energy in this life more or a female energy or sort of a mix, a balance?
I would say more male energy.
Okay, so because you're feeling the strength, is that right? Now, why are
Yes,
you
in a
okay?
solid form.
Okay, now let's look. Can we see a more solid form? If you have this male energy, can you kind of visualize that in your mind? What you might have looked like if you had a solid form? And I want you just to kind of relax and drift down. Like, what would you look like?
Um,
Like, if you had to just relax and just you're protected, you got your golden suit on. If you had to visualize, it might be hard to describe. But if you had to say, you know what, if you're stepping back with your mind's eye and viewing that person or that object near the cliff, if you had to separate from yourself, what would that person look like? Remember, we're just observing that life, so you can describe it.
well, if I'm thinking with my mind,
Oh, that's all right. I mean, just whatever comes to you.
well, just my body just feels very different. So it's very solid, very big male body.
Okay. Now, do you have arms and legs or not? You said you had feet, right? Because you could feel the stone thing. Do you have arms?
Yes, I do have arms and legs.
Okay. And you're pretty big, you think, right?
Very big.
Okay. Now, if you had to visualize yourself, did you have hair or did you have some type of armor on or what are you wearing?
I don't know if I'm wearing clothes.
Okay.
Maybe some sort of cloth. I don't think I'm wearing clothes that I know of.
Okay. Now, if you're not wearing clothes, that's fine. I want you to drift down deeper and deeper. Does this seem like very primitive times? In other words, do you see like hair on your body or what?
It's either galactic or primitive.
All right, galactic or primitive. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, good. I want you to relax with that. And I want you to just kind of keep in your mind as you're drifting down. I want the images to get clearer and clearer. You're sort of starting to feel, you maybe might be becoming more familiar why you're here. Why you're standing on the edge of this cliff or near the cliff. And let me just ask, where you are in your mind, do you feel that there's others around like you or not?
I can't feel anyone else around.
Okay. You don't think you were married in that life perhaps? Do you feel anything in your heart that another person might have been in that life? Do you feel any love interest or anything?
No, I don't really feel any emotion.
I see.
Maybe it is a consciousness. It's like I'm on the edge of this plateau, this rocky plateau, and then the universe is around me. I don't feel.
Okay.
But I don't feel that I have relationships, or I just feel that I am.
Okay. Well, let's stand there near the edge. We're about maybe 5, 10, 15 feet away from it. And I want you to stand there, and I want you just to take everything in, kind of looking across. Let me know when your eyes adjust a little more to the darkness. And let's look out past the darkness. Can you fly over the darkness to where it's lighter, or do you have that ability? Or is it dark all the time?
It feels like it's getting lighter, but it's just a vast expanse of space.
Good. Well, I want you to just relax more and more. Drifting down deeper and deeper. And you said you could feel your feet. Could you fly over that cliff if you wanted to? Could you fly somewhere to the other side like it's a big Grand Canyon type cliff or something?
Yeah, it kind of could be something like that.
All right, can you fly to the other side without getting hurt for me, or do you have to go down inside it?
No, I think I can move my consciousness to the other side. That's why I mentioned like the gravity thing. It feels weird. There's no up and no down.
All right, let's describe that. I want you to go fly slowly over that big cliff area. I want you to go slow and get a feel for how it feels to you.
I can feel.
How does it feel?
Below there's some sort of vegetation. Far below.
All right, describe that. Is there a river or water too, or just vegetation?
No river, just vegetation, but it seems like must be it's not desert. It doesn't feel like desert. It's not dry.
Okay, nice.
It seems lush in some way.
Great. Now, do me a favor. Let's fly down inside. Do you mind doing that? And let's go down
Yeah.
slowly to the bottom of this beautiful or whatever, this lush area. Let's go to the bottom. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's stand down inside this lush area. Find like a little clearing. Can you do that for me?
Uh, sort of a clearing, but there's lots of trees. It's not
Okay.
jungle. It's not like a tropical jungle.
Okay. We'll kind of fly down by the trees and
Yeah.
let's do that. Let's kind of stand down there. And I want you to stay there. And remember, you have the golden suit on. Nothing can see you or hurt you. So I want you to stand there as you're drifting down deeper and deeper. You're standing. And you're now starting to stand on the bottom of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to kind of look around. I mean, how thick are the trees? Are they big? Are they wide? Are they tall? Kind of describe that area you're at.
The trees are big and tall. Some not so much. There's lots of layers of vegetation. There's no one else around.
Very nice. Sounds nice. Is there ferns and stuff? What other kind of vegetation?
A few ferns, maybe even like Australian trees. I'm not sure. Australian type trees.
All right, very neat. So let's just kind of look around. Let's fly consciously. Could you do that for me? Just kind of fly above the trees down inside this cliff, this area like a Grand Canyon. If you had to put it in Earth terms, does it feel, maybe not dry like our Grand Canyon, but do you feel that, this is just a big canyon? And
Yes,
okay.
like that, but with vegetation.
Okay, very neat. So how wide is it, do you think? Is it 5 miles, 10 miles in Earth terms? Is it pretty darn big?
I can't. It's almost infinite.
Wow.
It keeps going.
Okay, and how deep is it? How far? Would you go down to the bottom and look up at the edges? How high are those, do you think? If you had to go right back to the bottom and say, man, it's 5 miles, 2 miles, 1 mile, what do you think?
I can tell kilometers, which is kind of similar. I'm just guessing here. Maybe 5 miles.
Okay, so it's pretty darn big.
Yeah.
Well, that's neat.
5 miles up to where I was standing.
Wow, that's a pretty big chasm. So you got trees all the way down at the bottom of that, right?
Yes.
And if you had to look at it on a map, let's say your conscious flew up above this big lush cap, cut in the earth, whatever you want to call it, a Grand Canyon type thing, and you look down at it from a high level. How long, if you had the number pop in your mind in miles, in Earth miles, what number would pop in your mind maybe when you look from one end to the other of this canyon?
How long it is?
Yeah, roughly. Like, what do you feel comfortable? Just relax. Is it more than 100 miles, yes or no, in your mind?
32.
So maybe about 32 miles long?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the question, I want you to drift down deeper and deeper. We're now pretty much familiar with this beautiful, lush canyon. You kind of got it all scoped out. Now, why would you go and want to see this? Do you live near here? If you had to look at your mind, where would your consciousness go on this area? Would it stay in the canyon, or does it go somewhere else? Where would you go if you had to call it home?
I don't know why I've come here. I'd probably go back up to the rock at the top.
All right, so let's go back to the rock at the top. And we've got the canyon down below us. We're not down below anymore. Now, if you had to look at yourself, and you're big and strong, you said, more male energy, can you make out a form what you'd look like if you had to project a form to others that might not know you as a energy or a consciousness? Like, what form would it look like? Would it look like a Viking? Would it look like just a big Sasquatch? Would it look like Cyclops? I mean, who would you look like if you had to visualize a form?
I guess I look like maybe some sort of native or indigenous person.
All right, so you might look like a large Indian. Did you have black hair or dark brown hair? What color was your hair? What do you remember or see in your mind?
Skin's not that dark. Skin's not that dark.
Gotcha.
I don't know about the hair.
Okay, do you think maybe you don't have hair? Like, if you have to reach up your hand and touch the top of your head.
It's short. Hair's short.
You have short hair, okay. Then what?
Yeah.
If you had to guess a color, is it brown, black, green? What color?
Dark hair.
Dark hair, gotcha. Now, let's look at yourself. Let's stand in front of you, seeing this dark hair, short haired, large male looking man.
Okay, so it looks like an American Indian.
Okay, American Indian. You have dark eyes too? What color?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And
Now,
yes.
are you sure you didn't have like a mate in that life? Do you visualize anybody in your mind you might have been paired with, or you're by yourself? Like you had to just kind of think about it. Like, is there a tribe of you, or are you just by yourself on this big thing with a canyon? Or do you remember others being there? And you might not see them, but do you think there were others?
Maybe now that you say that.
All right, do you feel there were others maybe like you that you lived with?
Yes.
Okay, other natives. Now, you had this neat ability to fly over canyons. Now, did your whole body go, or did your soul jump out of your physical body?
See,
Or how
I
did
think
that?
I just projected myself there.
All right, so you felt as a Native American. Or maybe could you have been an Aboriginal one from Australia, or you don't know?
Um, it doesn't look like an Aboriginal, but the land feels a bit Aboriginal. I mean,
Okay,
the land feels a bit Australian, but it's definitely not an Aboriginal.
okay. Now, the question is, on Earth, yes, we have canyons, but not quite that large and that deep. I don't believe with lush vegetation. Do you feel this is Earth in your mind, yes or no, or another planet? Or is it prehistoric Earth?
Um,
If you had to just kind of think about it for a minute, you're just
I don't know
relaxed.
if it's Earth.
All right, well, I want you
That
to.
was my initial thought at first.
Okay, well, that's fine. Just kind of go with it. You don't have to think about it too much. Just drift down deeper and deeper. And I want you to kind of stand on top of that rock and kind of admire it and kind of feel that power you had. And as you
Hmm.
drift down deeper and deeper, and you see this beautiful, lush canyon below you, and you feel your strength. Describe that strength to me. Was it pretty darn powerful, or what?
Yes, it feels like, like almost like my legs are like elephant legs. But now it feels like I'm receding from there, like
Oh,
I'm shooting backwards from that rock.
okay, well, you're shooting backwards, back toward that screen, maybe again, or not?
Maybe.
All right, well, let's go back, and now we've kind of looked at that life, and maybe we'll go back toward the screen, and you can feel yourself, maybe back toward the screen. And we're still standing on the rocks, and maybe that we turn around, we're facing the screen now, and you're drifting down deeper and deeper. And we remember how we feel then, but now we're going to go look for another journey, another adventure. And I want you to stand in front of the screen as you're drifting down deeper and deeper. And you see this big, beautiful, translucent screen in front of you. When I count from 3 to 1, you're going to 3. I want you to reach your hand out and touch the screen. Can you do that for me?
Yep.
So I want you to touch the screen. And 2, I want you to start to walk through the screen. 1, you're now on the other side of the screen. And you're just kind of standing there, and you're letting your mind's eye adjust, and you're drifting down deeper and deeper. And I want things to get clearer and clearer for you. And I want things to relax. You know what you're just observing. You have a golden suit on. And as you're standing there on the other side of the screen again, everything's going to be different now. It's going to be looking, I want you just to look around, just relax. And I want you just to kind of relax and look around. And if you don't mind, I'm going to go to about 20, 25 feet away from you and kind of follow you on this journey so you don't get too lost or scared. Is that okay?
Sure.
So what I'm going to do is
I'm not scared.
all right, well, good. I'm glad to know that. So you're standing on the other side of the screen. I might be standing off 25 to 30 feet away. And if you look over at me, what do I look like? What am I wearing?
Uh, a white t-shirt.
Okay, a white t-shirt. Am I very tall, or what kind of pants do I have on?
Uh, blue pants or jeans.
Okay, okay. Gotcha. So you can see me over
Okay.
there, and I want you to look now at yourself. I'll stay about 30 feet away. I'm just going to kind of, guide you along as we're going on this journey. But let me know what you see when you look out there and look down at your arms and your legs. What do you see? Are you male
I
or
see a person, it feels like sort of medieval. I'm just looking around.
nice?
Times when I'm wearing a dress.
All right, you're wearing.
I'm,
Okay, so you're a female in this life, and you're wearing a
I'm a
dress.
female. I'm
Gotcha.
wearing a, not rags, but like a linen simple dress.
All right, so let's kind of relax, and that's very interesting. I want you to tell me what kind of shoes do you have on? What do they look like? And I want you to drift down clearer and clearer. Just kind of think about the shoes a little bit. And is the dress long? Does it go to your ankles, or you can't see your shoes?
First, my ankles, my shoes are just almost like bits of leather um, tied with a string at the top of the leather.
I see. So they're pretty simple shoes overall, would you say?
Yes, yes.
All right, well, good. I want you just to relax and drift down deeper and deeper. And how dark? You said your dress is red. Is that correct?
No, my dress is brown, a light brown,
It's kind of a
brown
light
color.
brown. Okay. And describe yourself. Do you have hair or
I've
describe
got
it?
hair. I think it's wavy hair.
All right. Kind of what color is it? Do you think?
Sandy, light brown.
Gotcha. Is it very long? Is it down your back or where is it?
It's long hair, but it's tied back.
Tied back. Okay. What color are your eyes?
Oh God.
Just kind of relax, like if you had to look at yourself. What color do you remember?
Green.
Wow. It sounds. And how tall are you roughly?
Um, I don't feel that tall.
Okay.
I,
Like
just I
5.
think I'm an average. I think I'm an average height, and my dress is itchy.
Oh, okay. Now, if you had to look around, you're standing there in this dress, this brown dress, and
It feels like I'm holding a basket with something, and it just feels like I'm in an old town. You know, like an old European town.
good. Well, can
But
we?
again, when I look, it's the gravity thing. So I look around. I'm just getting the bearings because it's like the gravity's distorted, so I can go backwards and forwards, but I'm just got to try and stand up, if that makes sense.
All right, no, it does. So I want you just to relax and enjoy. And you feel near. What's in the basket? What are you carrying?
I think it has to be food.
Okay, you're carrying food. Well, I want you to drift down deeper and deeper. And let's walk to wherever you're going with the food. Are you going to maybe take it somewhere? And I want you just to kind of walk along. Are you going to take it to town? Are you going back home? Or where are you going with this basket?
I'm following a path.
Or you're following a path. Okay, well, let's go down the path. And as I said, I'm going to be behind you if you don't mind. Is that okay if I stay back about
Sure.
25, 30 feet behind you? Kind of guy going along on your journey with you. And I want you just to relax and drift down as you're walking along this path. And is it a dirt path? How wide is it? Or is it
No,
rock?
it's like a cobbled stone. It's a city, so it's an
Okay, so it's
old
like pretty
city.
nice.
And
What?
then I'm going down, and then there's some steps to go down, and I go down the steps.
All right, keep going. Keep describing your journey, and I'll follow you. Tell me where you go.
So it's like an old city, so the streets are narrow, but they're cobbled. And it must be early in the... I'm not afraid, but it's just a bit eerie, so it must be maybe early in the morning, and I'm up early. I guess by my dress, but I guess I'm very poor. And I think I'm doing some sort of job, carrying a basket or taking it to someone.
All right, well, let's keep going along the journey. Just keep walking along through the town. And if you had to see numbers in your mind, let's say it was in a century, like 13, 14, 15, 16, whatever, hundreds. Let's look at those first two numbers alone by themselves. Don't worry about the zeros or anything. But what century would this be, in your opinion, roughly, if it popped into your mind?
13th century.
So about 13th century, about 1200s then, is what you feel?
12 something. 12
Good.
something. 12,
So let's look.
62.
All right, so do you feel like it was 1262 AD?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want you to look along. As you're walking along with these sandwiches or food, I want you to tell me, what do you think your name was in that life? If you had to see a letter in your mind, what would be the first letter?
I got A or I. But I look down at my wrists, and there's like burns or cuts on my wrist. Maybe I've been whipped or something.
Okay, well, let's think about that a little bit. That sounds kind of saddening, but remember, we're just observing. So let's think about that. You have cuts on your wrist, and how do you think you got those?
Or like a burn or something like that. Burns or something.
Like a burn. Like a burn because what, your wrists were tied at one time or what?
Like I've been punished for something.
All right, and why would they punish you? Was it your parents or who would punish?
No, not parents. I think I'm in service.
Okay. And you're in service to who? Some family or who?
I think it's a family.
Okay. Well, let's see right now. I want you to drift down deeper and deeper, enjoying the vision. I want you to just observe. I'm just behind you, kind of walking along. Now, where are we taking this basket of food? Can you follow along and describe your journey as you go there?
So I'm walking down some steps, and it's very early in the morning, and through narrow streets, and I wonder. It's almost like a secret where I'm taking this basket to, I don't know if it's the master or something like that's told me to take this basket of food to a house. It's almost like it's a secret, or not to tell anyone. Oh. Maybe that's why it's early and not many people are around, but I'm afraid because it's so early. I'm not afraid, but it's just, it's dissettling because it's so eerie and early.
I understand. You just want to get this food delivered and be done with it, right? Is that how you feel?
Yes, but also it's not to tell anyone about it.
God, be very secretive and try to sneak in there before somebody sees you or asks you questions. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So let's go toward that door where you're going to drop this off, and let's go in front of that house. And I want you to look ahead of it and describe the door. Describe the door of the house to me. How big is it? How old is it?
Well, it's like probably an very old-fashioned little terrace. And I'm shocked that they would know someone that's so poor.
Because it's kind of nice. Is it a nice cottage?
No, it's not nice. I'm shocked that the people that I work for would know someone that's so poor that I'm delivering this food to.
Okay. Well, and
it's a very narrow little house, and it's stone, and then there's a door. It's just a very old, weathered door.
Well, can you knock on the door and see? Tell me who answers it. What do they look like, or all that?
An old woman.
Okay, and what's her name? Do you remember?
I don't know her name.
All right, so
she smiles.
You haven't been to this house before. Is that correct, or you have?
I haven't been there before. I don't go in. I just pass her the basket.
All right, let's pass her the basket. She's smiling at you. Now, is that person, do you think maybe, you don't know her name, you've never been there, but do you think she was related to the people you got the food from originally? Or how do they know her? Why would they give her food, no somebody else?
I don't know. She knows she knows she's either done something for them or she knows something about them that she's kept secret.
Interesting. Well, let's go back. Let's take your basket, and now that delivery's been made, your basket's gone, so you're just kind of walking. Where do you walk back to? Are you going back to where
I've still got the basket. She's taken the food out.
Oh, okay, so you're going to take the basket with you. Okay, now take me on that journey and go back to where you want to go back to with the basket. Where would you go? And describe to me.
Quickly back to up the steps, and then back to the house or the people that I'm working for, or where I'm staying.
All right, let me ask you this. Go back to the house. And remember, you're just observing now. They can't hurt you. They can't, beat you or anything. And I want to go through the house, and maybe they don't know you're there. They can't see you. They don't know you're back yet. But go in the house and describe to me what it looks like, what you see. And are there other helpers or servants like you in that house?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a big room at the front. It's dark inside, lots of panels of timber, dark woods.
Okay.
There's a big dining table and a fireplace. And it's dark. The windows are small.
Okay.
Everyone else is asleep, except one woman in the kitchen.
Okay. Describe that woman in the kitchen. What is she doing?
She's cooking something over a fire.
All right, so
Pot.
she's got a pot, and it's on a. Is the fireplace big? Is it a fireplace or what is it?
It's just a fireplace. And then I remember that when I first went there, I was amazed they could be so wealthy to have such a big pot.
So they had a very nice big pot. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, when you look around, I presume that was the kitchen. When you look around, did they have a lot of nice pots because they were wealthy, or what are your thoughts? What does the furniture look like?
The furniture's big and heavy, dark furniture. There's not much furniture. The windows are small but ornate. And they're up high. The windows are up high. Like they did, not like we'd have them now, that we'd have them low and look out.
So they're up closer to the roof line or the ceiling?
Yes.
Okay. Now, tell me about the bedrooms. Describe what the beds look like. Are they rough wood too?
The bedrooms, only the family has bedrooms.
Okay. Now, where did you sleep in this house? Where did you spend the night? If you had to kind of look like, where did you go to? Where did they have you? Where did all the servants sleep?
Just next to the kitchen.
So what, you'd sleep on the floor next to the kitchen? Is that correct?
I don't think you call it a mattress. I think you call it... It's like an outhouse. Well, the kitchen was a little bit further away from the... It's like a little alcove.
So is that where all the servants spent the night, was in that alcove?
Yes. It's like a
sunroom with no flowers or plants?
It's like 4 posts and then almost like a... Oh God, I can't even find the word. It's like a hammock. Hammocks, like you'd sleep on a hammock, like that sort of thing. It's not a mattress.
I see.
It's just like a stretched bit of sheet tied to 4 posts.
Interesting.
That would be a bed.
Okay. And how many servants were there that would spend the night usually in that area?
5.
All right. Did you have any that were close friends of yours, of those 5, that you knew well and liked them and got along? And name a couple.
I liked them, but I think I was shy and kept to myself and just accepted that's how life was.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Here you got in this family. How long were you there as a servant? How many years? How old were you? When you see yourself there now, there's a sheet, you and I are there, I'm way behind you, kind of just looking around inside myself. How old were you in that scene?
14 to 16. 14 maybe.
Okay, so maybe 14. How old were you when you went there for the first time and started working for them? What do you remember? How young were you?
I can't remember.
Could you have been like...
8, 9, 10.
All right, so maybe around 8, 9, or 10. Do you see yourself? I want you to go back to when you were 10 there. Do you see yourself as a small young girl back then?
No, I felt I was lucky to get a position.
So you felt good. Now, what did your parents put you into this situation where you needed that job for what? How were your parents doing? Were they still alive or not?
I'm not sure. I don't feel any connection to them.
All right. Do you think maybe you were orphaned and you don't remember?
I feel a longing for someone, but I don't know if it's my parents. I think I was very poor.
Okay.
Not that I it wasn't like, even if I looked at my arms and was punished, it wasn't that I felt sorry for myself. It just is what is. It's just how it was.
I understand. So what year was that again, roughly, that you told me? What year?
I think 1262.
Okay, good. And what was your name? You said it started with an A or an I. Do you see your name yet?
Isabel.
Isabel. Okay, so you feel it was 1262. Your name was Isabel. You're about 14 years old and working in a house with about 4 or 5 other servants. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so I want you to stay there and just kind of go along. And let's see, do you see yourself at age 20? Are you still working in the same house or not?
Yes, but I feel that I'm going to have to, I may leave soon.
You may leave soon. Okay, so you're around 20. You see yourself there. Now, you know your name. What's your name again?
Isabel.
All right, Isabel, I want you to kind of stand there and look around. And I'm over, somewhere. Do you see me in the house at all or not?
I just feel your energy in a corner.
Okay, you feel the energy, good. Now, here's the question for you. And I'm there to kind of go along in this journey. You're just observing this life. Where or what country in Europe was this back in 1262?
I'm going to say France or Portugal, but I think it's France.
All right, let's look at that. Let's narrow it down. If you had to look at a map of modern day France today, now remember we know it's 1262. Was it near Paris or where were you near? What was the name of a town that might come in your mind in French? What would maybe pop in your head? What would be the start with? What would be the first word, first letters?
Well, I know the names of towns in France.
Okay. Do you feel that in this life that you might have visited this town of 1262 from another life? Do you think that might have been?
Maybe I have. There was one town I went to that I couldn't believe how connected I felt.
Okay, now let's think back to that day. I want you to relax, drifting down deeper and deeper. And in this life, I want you to kind of think in your mind, what was the name of that town in this life that you felt connected to?
I think it was called Pesnas.
Okay, spell that for me, please.
Oh, I don't know how to spell it.
All right, say it again. Enunciate it again.
I think it's P-E-Z-N-A-C-E, I think.
So you think that in this life that was a town you went to, and you felt pretty connected to it. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, let's go to that town now in your mind. Modern day, we're still going to go back to the other life, but I want you to kind of come forward and see.
It's similar. It's similar. So if I'm looking at a map above from France.
Yes.
Town, so it's in the south. It's southeast of France. The town I'm thinking of is more southwest, but I don't know the name of the town. If I'm looking at a map.
I understand. Well, that's good to know. So you feel very comfortable in this place. You see yourself at 20. I want you to drift down deeper and deeper. You're in the house, and you're feeling all protected. You're feeling and seeing all the energy around. Now, I want you to look at that at age 20. How old were you when you left that house? What do you see in your mind?
I don't see much after that. I know I was very afraid, thinking, what am I going to do?
All right, well, let's just relax and go to age 20. Are you at the house at 21 or did you leave?
I'm not there anymore.
Okay, so you left sometime at age 20. Now, I want you to just observe, don't get emotional. Did you leave because you wanted to, or did you have to escape to get away from this bondage, or how did that work in 1262? Or 1268 at this time, or whatever
I
year
don't
it is.
think they didn't want me anymore.
Okay, they didn't want you, so you're age 20. And do you have any illnesses at all at this age, or why would you leave at age 20? And you said they didn't want you. Now, is that because you were sick, or is that just because they found somebody else that was younger? Why did
Maybe
you?
they just found someone else that was a better worker.
Okay. So at age 20, 21, you left. Where did you go?
I don't know. I just see myself walking without shoes along a dirt road.
All right. Well, let's go. I'm going to follow you. We're just going to observe. Okay.
We're in the country.
Okay. We're out in the country.
I mean, out of the town.
All right. You're out of the town. You're getting away. It's about, what year does it look like now that you're 2021?
All I can see is countryside. I'm on a dirt road.
All right, countryside. I want you to walk along the dirt road. I'm going to be behind you. Everything's fine. We're just observing. We're not thirsty. We're not hungry. Everything's perfect. And you're relaxed. You're leaving the house. But now you feel this sense of, do you feel a sense of like freedom in a sense? You're glad to be away from them? Or what do you feel? What do you feel at that
I
moment?
feel a lot lighter, but I'm uncertain of anything. I also feel like I'm walking with a crowd of people.
Okay. Okay, you're walking with a crowd of people. Let's kind of look at that for a moment.
Maybe they're looking for work, or maybe there's some offering of where to go. I'm
All
not
right. So
sure.
you think maybe this group maybe has heard of better opportunities somewhere in France, maybe? Or what do you see? Was it, did they leave because of
I
Go
I think
ahead.
someone's, and then there's someone watching me.
All right, talk
I
to me
don't know.
about that person watching you. Is it a being or is it a person or who's watching you?
Um, it's I guess there's no army in those days, but it's someone in a power of authority. So maybe someone from the church.
All right, so maybe someone from the church that's in a power of authority. And they're watching you. And do you go work for the church or why are they watching you?
Maybe they're directing us where to go,
All right, so you feel maybe there might have been some church involvement that was kind of helping these people along this path, this dirt path. Is that correct?
helping, but then I'm not so sure if they're helping.
Okay, well, let's just wonder that. Let's walk down the path with this group of people. We're there. We're just observing. Nobody can see us, but you can see yourself. Okay, as you're walking along. What are you wearing now as you're walking along this path? I guess in your age, what, 20 to 21, somewhere in there?
Yes.
Or are you
Um,
older?
uh,
Like, what's your outfit?
I'm uh, I'm early 20s, which I guess is kind of old.
Okay,
And
that's
I'm trying to cover my face a little bit with my hair,
all right.
so
You're
I'm not noticed.
You're covering your face so you can kind of go, okay, interesting. Now, why are you covering your face? Are you a little scared of these church people or what?
So I'm just wearing a very simple, I don't even know if you call it a dress. I've just got bare feet. I'm following other people, but the crowd seems a bit afraid. Why am I covering my face? Well, someone's watching me, and I also don't want them to notice me or think I'm attractive.
Because are you concerned they might maybe harm you physically or sexually? Is that why?
It's either that, or I don't want them to. Or that's a man that's, or yes, or someone's watching me, so I'm trying to remain a bit anonymous.
All right, well, let's walk along the path. And remember, nobody's going to hurt you. We're just observing this life. Now, do you see yourself when this man is taking more of an interest over, let's say, the next year or so, or what do you see? Did you get where you're going safely and this guy didn't bother you, or do you see him bothering you?
Um,
And you're just observing. It's not getting emotional.
I,
Why is this guy watching you? Do you see yourself working for him or marrying him, or what do you see?
I don't think he wants to harm me. I think he's observing. I actually think maybe he's a light in the darkness.
So he could be a
Um,
good person. Is that what you're saying?
I think he is. I think he's a good person,
All
but
right.
also he works for the authoritative powers, so he has to be careful.
Okay, interesting. And what was his name? Do you remember?
Jerome,
All right, so he's Jerome. And how old is he compared to you? You're like what? Early 20s? How old is he?
gosh, it's so hard to tell. 30s,
All right, so maybe 10 years older than you, 12 years, 15 years older than you, maybe?
but he watches me. I don't know why.
Does he? Okay, you don't know why he's watching. Okay. I want you to walk along with this group, and I want you just to walk along. Everything's fine. You're just observing. I'm back there behind the crowd, kind of following along too. And I want you to take me to where this crowd eventually goes. Where are you going and describe what you see? Where are you? Go to the end of this path and where you're supposed to be going. Where do you see yourself in early 20s?
we're going. It's like a small little village, and there's some a country village, and there's some shacks there that we're taken to.
All right, so you're taken to these shacks in this small little village. Now, in your mind, do you remember the name of that little village that took all you in? What would the name be in France at that time?
God, I don't know.
Do you see a letter in your mind, like the first letter maybe? Just think about the first letter.
A G or a J.
All right, maybe a...
Like I'm getting like Jordan or something like that.
Okay, now if you had to look at a map in your mind's eye, how far away from that house you were a servant in, how far away from there did you guys have to walk?
Long way. At least 6 days.
6-day walk, okay. If we had to put it in miles, would that be 50 miles, 100 miles? How far?
I'll tell you a lot, like...
Or kilometers.
200, 300 kilometers.
Wow, so somewhere between 200 and 300 kilometers. If you had to narrow it down, what would it be?
Maybe 200, 180.
180 kilometers. Now, which direction did you walk? North, south, east, or west? From the servant job.
Northwest.
You walked west for about 100...
Northwest.
Northwest for about 180 kilometers. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Now, I want you to look at that, where you're going to kind of see in your mind's eye, that map of France, where you were a servant, that northwest walk of about roughly 180 kilometers, and you see like a red dot. What was the first letter? Just in your mind's eye, stepping back, looking at this large map, what would be the name of the town where that red dot was if you had to like blow it up in your mind like a Google map search? And you're zeroing down on it. What name would pop in your head if it was on an old map? And just take your time. Is it 2 syllables, 1 syllable?
I'm just thinking.
Yeah, maybe the first letter. What do you think? Just take your time.
Either a D or an N.
Okay. Now, what would be the second letter? Can you tell that in your mind or not really?
O.
All right, so would it be N-O or D-O in your mind?
D-O.
All right, so we got a D-O. What would be the third letter in your mind?
R.
Okay, so in your mind you can almost see D-O-R. And what would be that fourth letter?
G.
So in your mind you can almost see D-O-R-G.
Yeah.
Do you see the whole thing, or what would be the fifth letter?
I don't know.
All
But
right.
the shacks we go to, for a moment, I think these people think that they're so free that they don't realize they're going back into servitude again.
All right, tell me about that. You're in this village, and who do you end up working for again? First you thought...
So I guess, like almost like the lord of who owns the village, or it's manual labor.
All right, tell me what
Very
kind of...
hard.
very hard. Then describe that day to me. Here you are, let's say you're in your mid-20s now. Do you see yourself in your mid-20s, say 25, 6?
Yeah, I'm accepting that's life.
You're accepting
There's
that's
no
the life. So go ahead.
other option. I'm too old for marriage.
Okay, so you're now too old for marriage. You never got married. So describe to me... And what was your name again?
Isabel.
Isabel, describe for me again. What kind of manual labor did you do? Did you work in the kitchen, the field? Where'd you do?
Well, I was never taught how to sew because that would have been a lot easier.
Okay.
And I didn't get a job in the house, so I assume it was manual labor. It was very cold.
Wow. So did they have you out there like what? Picking vegetables or baling hay or what'd you guys?
I see myself digging.
Okay. And what are you digging for?
I think like tilling the soil, like so preparing the soil in some way, but it's very hard.
Yeah. How many hours a day do you think you would get out? What time would you get up in the morning and what time would you get back if you had to put it like in modern day time? How long were your days?
Well, the days were never mine, so as long as it was light.
So as long as it was light, you were out there working. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then what? You would go back to your shack in the village and
Very simple.
get up the next day and do the same thing. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, now how long, and just remember, we're not getting emotional. I want you to see yourself in the shack. You've been doing this job. You're in your mid-20s. Do you see yourself at 30?
Yes, but I do, but I'm getting old and sick.
Okay, you're starting to get a little old and sick. Describe, how long, did you make it to 31, 32? How old did you live?
I'm going to say 33 or 34.
All right, so 33, 4, and we're not going to get emotional, but I want you to take me up to those last days of your life. And I want you to kind of, just step back. You're not going to get emotional. I want you to step back to maybe the last day or two of your life. And I want you to describe the scene. Are you still working? Are you in bed? What are you doing?
I'm not working. I'm in bed, and I thought, what have I enjoyed in my life? And I enjoyed the forest.
Okay, well, let's think about that. You're in bed. You're feeling kind of sick at around 33 or 4. Let's narrow it down.
I'm just tired. My body's tired. It doesn't want to go on anymore.
Okay.
It's not upset. It's just had enough.
Just had enough and you're bone tired. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, I want you to take me to that moment. You're here. You're in your last hour. You're in bed. You're probably, you said you were reflecting on, you enjoyed the forest. And I want you to drift down deeper and deeper while you're in bed. I want you to take me up, not getting emotionally involved, but take me right up to the last breaths. And I want you to tell me what happens. And tell me what you were sick from. Can you explain that? I know you were tired, but did you catch some type of a respiratory thing or a cold, or what knocked you over the edge even though you were super tired?
Well, it feels I'm strong. It feels like I did get some respiratory problem, but I think if feeling it, it feels that I just had enough suffering.
Enough suffering. Okay, well, let's go to that last moments now in your mind. Were you 33 or 4? How old were you?
33.
All right, what month were you born? Do you remember? Or not
September.
what? Okay, you were born maybe in September. What month did you die?
August.
August, what day? Do you remember?
Tw 29.
All right, so August 29. And I want you just to relax and lay there. You can see yourself on the bed.
And then I'm laughing because birthdays never really mattered, but it's amazing that I remembered.
That is impressive, especially for that time period. What year was that again in your last moments?
12.
It was the 1200s. What was the last 2 numbers of your death? Do you remember?
82.
Does that feel pretty good to you? Right around 82? Because that would put you at what, 33?
Numbers didn't really mean very much. It just was.
But you knew, though. You knew it was like 1282. Is that correct?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's look back, and I want you just to lay there, and you're feeling, were you cold when you died? Were you still coughing? Or tell me the last hour or two. Was it rough or not? What do you feel in that last hour of life? Of that life, what do you feel? Like you got the chills, a fever, coughing, or do you just feel fine?
I just feel that I'm surrendering.
All right,
it's time to surrender.
Okay, you just knew that you just felt like, hey, I've had enough. Now I want
weary.
Yes, and what else?
I can't breathe very well.
Okay.
Feels like my lungs are filling up with water.
Okay.
And I've got sores on my body.
Oh, okay. Tell me about those. Your whole body or just part of your body?
I don't know, I look down, but mainly all over my legs. And then I look at my arms and I just see all the scars on my body. It's interesting to observe.
Okay, well, let's observe. We're not getting emotional. How was your hair at this point? Did you still have it long, or did it look like it was pretty tired too?
Um, the hair looks a bit tired, but I'm lying down.
And what about your hands? Take a look at your hands. Describe those hands to me. What do they look like?
They're young, but they're hands that have worked hard. They're calloused.
Okay. So you had pretty strong hands and arms by the time you passed away until you got sick. Is that correct?
I was strong, but the spirit had given up.
Okay. Well, let's go to those last moments, and you're just drifting down deeper and deeper. And you see yourself laying on the bed, and you're taking your last breaths. And I want you just to relax.
It's not really bed, it's just lying there.
All right, so you're not on a bed, you're like on a cot or a mattress or just some rags on the floor or whatever.
It's off the floor, but it's just like a plank.
Okay, so you're laying on like a plank. Now, let's go. Let's see. You see yourself later. What else you want to describe it to me as?
It's cold, but I don't care.
Okay.
I look to the left and there's a picture. I'm assuming it's a religious picture,
Okay.
And it's something that I had that was precious.
Now, do you remember who the king or queen was at the time in France? Do you have any idea?
No.
Okay. So it really didn't affect your life. You just kind of shuffle around, didn't have a lot of information, but you did know the years and dates. Is that right?
Just from what I was told.
Okay. Well, let's go to the last moments, and we're just going to observe. I'm standing over maybe.
And I only guessed my age because I don't know.
Well, that's all right. You're just drifting down. It's okay. And the age is fine. If it's 33 or 4, you feel it, it's okay. Just relax. I want you to drift down deeper and deeper. Allow yourself to relax. And you're ignoring any noises you hear in my area or your area. You're just feeling yourself drifting down deeper and deeper. Allowing yourself just to relax more and more. And I want you to take me up to the last moments. Okay? Do you see yourself coming out of your body? Like what happened to death? What do you remember? Just kind of relax, drift down.
It was a relief.
Okay, you felt a relief. Did you not feel sick or weak anymore?
I wasn't emotional. I just observe it like an experience. So when I say suffering or scars on my arms, it just was observing. I wasn't emotionally attached to it.
Good. Okay, that's what I want you to do.
It was almost like a karmic life.
Okay.
Well, and my lesson was not to be bitter.
Okay, so was that one of the lessons you signed up for in that life, not to be bitter?
Yes.
All right, well, I want you to drift down deeper and deeper. And I want to leave the room. Do you see yourself moving away from that scene consciously? In other words, the dead body on the bed. Do you see yourself leaving it? And who came and got your body? Who discovered you passed dead? Who discovered you? Do you remember by watching it? Who found you? Like, did you consciously stay there long enough to see who found your body and what they did with it?
I could go back and look.
All right, let's go back. Let's go back.
Important. I think it probably was just buried.
Okay, so we don't have to do that. Let's just move forward. And let's go now. Tell me where you go as a consciousness? Describe what you see as you drift down deeper and deeper. Do you see others where you go, or where do you drift off to? Does somebody come to meet you before you go off, or how does that work? Like as a soul, as a dead ghost spirit, did someone come to that house or that village to help lead you somewhere else, or what happened?
I think I just knew where to go.
All right, so you knew where to go, and I want you to drift down deeper and deeper. And I want you to take me up to that place, and I'm going to stand there. I'll be over to the side. And let's go to where you go and describe to me what you see. I want you to take me where that consciousness goes.
Well, first I went to, it was kind of like a silent void. It was just all silence. I wasn't upset or I was just, I just was.
Okay.
And it was silent and calm, and there was nothing to fear or worry. It was just, and I didn't know how long I'd be there, but it didn't really matter.
Interesting. So you felt this was it like peaceful? Like I just feel like I'm just.
It was just peaceful, and the time, it didn't matter how long I was there. It wasn't like I was wondering about the time. I was just in rest, like you said before, like a spa. I was just in this void space.
Okay, was it dark, or could you see stars out in the distance, or what could you see? I know it was silent.
There was nothing.
Okay, so are you a consciousness kind of floating out in space, you feel?
I was consciousness, but I don't know if I was moving.
Okay.
It's just like I was just what is. It was just there, and it was just a void.
All right. Well, let's stay there for a moment and kind of enjoy the void experience, feeling that peace, losing all that pain, all that tiredness. And just kind of, as a conscious, you're just kind of observing up here in space as you're kind of drifting around. Maybe you're just hovering there or whatever. And I want you to take me to the end of that void. Let's go see if we can find an end and look forward. And as you're drifting down deeper, deeper.
Then I feel that there's another consciousness.
Okay, you can feel another consciousness around you. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I'm familiar with them. I couldn't pinpoint who they were.
Okay, what do they look like? Do you see them in your mind's eye? What color are they glowing? Are they glowing at all, or what? Or are they just there? Do you just know they're there?
It's like a what color? Like a light, like a blue color.
All right. So a pretty blue. Is it like glowing a little bit? Kind of a pretty blue color?
Pulsating.
Wow, that must be pretty. Now, as you're out there as a consciousness, I want you to look down and what color are you emanating compared to this blue? What color is your soul?
It's like a violet.
Okay, so you feel like you're radiating sort of a violet color. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you feel pretty comfortable with that. Is it a pretty violet?
Yes, but when you're around other colors, you take on a little hue of their colors.
All right, what other hue of colors would you have if you had to look at yourself?
Because I was next to the blue one, I took on a slight blue hue, even though I was still violet.
Okay.
It's like almost like a communication or a merging of energies.
I see. Now, did they absorb some of your purple as well when you guys met like that?
If I allowed them to.
If
they allowed themselves to.
Okay. Now, this person that came to you, or this being, this energy, who was pulsating blue.
Yeah.
Tell me about them a little bit. If you had to think about them, why would they come out in space to meet you? Who were they?
It's almost, I don't know who they were, but they were guiding me to options. That's what I
Well, let's go to the options. Let's go and drift along, and you're going to follow along. Do you see me still out there in space, or you don't see me anymore? Or am I still wearing a t-shirt and jeans?
No, you're not. I could just feel you. I can't see
Okay.
you.
So you just know we're still along for the journey. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, that's good. Let's go along. Let's follow this blue pulsating being. And let's see where he takes us. Let's kind of follow him and tell me where you end up next. Where does he take us?
It's almost like a bigger space. So it felt like before, even though it was a void, it was like a tunnel of some sort, like a long tunnel.
Okay. Kind of like
and now it feels like it's a much bigger space.
All right, good. Well, let's go to the end of it. Keep describing what you're seeing as we go through this tunnel and get to the end of it.
Yeah, so we're in a much larger space now, and it feels like there's collective energies there. They're not intrusive. I don't feel like I'm in a crowd, but I just know there's lots of other energies there that are not affecting me.
Okay, good. Now, how do you feel now that you're in this larger space? Do you see the blue pulsating being? And are you still violet, or are they still blue? Or did you take on more of a human form, or do you still have these energy colors?
I think the colors dissipate a little bit now from everyone. Otherwise, they're too strong.
Okay.
It's too much energy. So we somehow, not introverted, but hold it more inside of us. Even though we're all connected.
Okay.
You don't need the colors so much anymore because it's almost like it's just like lots and lots of glasses, if you can imagine, like drinking glasses. You can see through them. You don't need to see what's inside them because you know what it is. I don't know. That sounds really weird.
No, that's fine. Well, let's look around with all these different energies, and you don't need, like you said, everybody kind of tone their colors down a little bit because they were kind of overwhelming energy.
But it's not like a crowd where you get overwhelmed.
Right.
No one's invading into your space.
Okay, well, let's stand there and kind of look around and tell me what other colors might be here in this big space. What other colors do you see?
They're very subtle. They're very, very subtle.
Okay.
Unless I focus on someone, obviously I can't talk because I don't have a mouth there. If you focus on someone and they focus back on you, you can see much more about them, much more of their colors. If they choose to allow you, and if you invite them and they accept your invitation, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Then they'll show themselves. So it's almost like, not that they're sleeping, but if you want to wake them up and they agree to that, then they'll show you their colors.
Interesting. So while you're there and you feel, I guess you can see in 360 pretty much, you kind of see all around you if you want to.
Yes.
And do you see any, I know you see the colors, do you see any, structures of any type? Do you see anything in your mind that, maybe something kind of structure, or what's the surface like where you're at now?
It just feels, so it's dark. I wouldn't say there's walls, but it feels like, but there's that warm feeling, like when there's sunlight on you and it's comforting you. It's so nice to go out in the sunshine. It's that sort of feeling. It's just a warm,
wow,
safe, comfortable feeling, even though it's not a bright light.
Yes.
That's what it feels like.
Very nice. So now, if you had to look at yourself now, are you still giving off a violet light, or can you turn yourself into more of a human shape if you want to in this location?
I can if I project.
All right, if you had
how I want to.
Okay. Well, let's drift down deeper and deeper, feeling more relaxed, feeling, happy to be back here. It's a lot easier in the other life. And you're just kind of seeing your body. What form would you project if you had to project yourself? What would you look like? How tall? What would you be, male or female, or what would you be wearing?
Well, it would just be a choice of what.
What did you prefer to see yourself as on the other side?
What's interesting is that the energies now are collecting towards similar resonance, or maybe you could call it soul families, or so there's kind of, after a while, they kind of collect together with similar frequencies, or maybe similar colors, maybe not necessarily similar colors, but similar familiarities.
All right, now let's do that. Let's go toward what you feel is your, the same frequency you're on, the same vibrational level. The same level of
They're
involvement.
familiar.
Describe your soul group to me.
Strong, powerful.
Okay.
I see the purple, but there's also orange and blue and yellow there.
Other colors, okay. And where did you all go? What did you? I doubt you all just floated around. Did you have any structures you went to that you thought created yourself, or where would you go to like relax and meditate and just kind of enjoy yourself?
Well, we're not in human form.
Oh, I know, but would you just float around as a normal like orb or what?
It's not really floating. It's just you're just there.
Okay. Or you feel like
you
you're in
can-
a sea of souls in a sense?
A sea of energies. It's not like you get bored, so you need to create things, but you can create anything you want. But it's okay to be just what is.
Okay. So
There's
you didn't.
nothing to do.
Okay, so you just kind of float in this nice area. Now, in your mind's eye, if we had to pick a number in your mind, what dimension would this be? Let's say we left the third dimension. What dimension would this be, you think?
Well, I got 41, but that's probably not even possible.
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, there's very many different dimensions, but if we had to narrow it down between 1 and 12, what number would, and say the Godhead?
Seven.
So you feel pretty comfortable with 7. And say the Godhead's 12. So you feel like 7. Now,
Yeah.
were there any angels in this area as well? Like, do you remember anybody from the Bible, archangels, or anybody that
No.
you... Okay, so none of that. Any ascended masters did you ever see in this area or not? Like, did anybody ever come to visit, say, hey, how you doing, Isabel?
No.
How's it now being back? What about spirit guides? Did you have any spirit guides in this area that might have come up to you after your life as Isabel and welcomed you back? Did anybody come meet you? You did mention the blue pulsating light out in space. Did anyone else from your soul group come up and say hello and welcome back?
No, but now I feel like I'm with the soul group.
All right,
And some of the soul group are spirit guides.
Yes. Now tell me about that. Did you have any particular in that soul group that you really worked with and enjoyed and loved them to death or what?
I think I loved all of them, but I feel that I don't know me personally, but I feel that some of them could choose to be guides or not, or not.
Okay,
That maybe they were ascended masters. I don't know. They were very advanced.
Now, do you feel as a soul in that area, around the 7th dimension out of 12, say, how do you feel your involvement was? How many, did you have to go up some more layers or what? Like, did you have a string of some pretty credible lives on Earth, or did you, if you think back, were you ever on Atlantis or Lemuria or Egypt as a human soul? Do you remember?
I do, but I don't remember.
Okay. So tell me about...
I feel that I had a choice I feel that I chose to be human because it provided so much experience to teach others.
Okay. Now, do you feel you were a teacher also on the other side? You'd come back down? Because that was a pretty hard life you had as Isabel, being a servant and a field worker. I mean, that was not a teaching type job. That was just a hard manual labor life. Do you think you had other lives to where you might have been, maybe a teacher to others or anything like that?
I do, but I don't see Isabel as a hard life. I see it as an experience.
I see. Very interesting. Now, while you're on the other side, you said that one of the lessons you took as Isabel was not to feel bitter about that life, and you knew it as an experience. Tell me what other lessons that you were working on in that life. Do any other names come to mind or any other things?
Forgiveness.
All right, forgiveness. And what else?
To understand the suffering of others.
Okay.
And to understand why, maybe not to understand, but to forgive people for being cruel.
Have been cruel to you. Okay. Well, those are all hard lessons. Now, did you simply review yourself, or did you have higher evolved beings that looked at that life as Isabel and gave you their opinion? Is that how it worked?
It's almost like once I was back in that soul family, our minds, and there's no mind, our consciousness connected, and it was all integrated. So everyone put their input into me, and I put their input into everyone else.
Good. And what was their input? Was it positive for that life as Isabel? Did you do a good job in that life? Is that what they told you?
Yeah, but it's like, like you see those electrical waves. It's almost like that, like where those electrical waves of currents of interconnectedness, sharing all the information and sharing the stories and the experiences and the review for everyone. But there were so many there that everyone all at once, and everyone got it all at once. All that huge amounts of information for each person and each soul and every soul. That was interesting how it just happened like that. It was 1 second that all that huge data was shared instantaneously.
Isn't that neat? And they thought that you did a pretty good job as that life as Isabel, or were you not judged when they were just looking at the experience?
Well, they don't. It's not you did a good job. It was just an experience. What did you learn? And it's almost like if I learned, well, it's not about learning. I evolved or learnt some lesson that I'm trying to think of the right words. If I, we'll just say learnt a lesson, but that's probably not the right words. If I did that and that interconnectedness that we all shared, if they could resonate with that same frequency, they then didn't have to learn that lesson as tough as I did.
Right, so you took the hard life as Isabel.
It's not hard, everyone took those experiences, and if we chose to share how that felt, and those learnings and those teachings, then they didn't necessarily need to repeat it for themselves in a physical form.
I understand. Well, that's nice. So you did that. They all received the enormous amounts of data that you had to share from that experience as Isabel.
And they would choose to receive it and not experience it themselves or to experience it.
Okay. Well, that's good. So all in all, that was a good experience. And let's kind of drift down deeper and deeper. Drifting down deeper and deeper. And you came through with that experience. And let's go forward from that experience. And let's drift down deeper and deeper. And tell me, where do you see yourself next? Once we leave this dimension, what do you see next?
It's almost like there's these avenues or tunnels going off to different areas that we can choose to go. I don't feel privileged, not like an ego perspective, but I feel a privilege because I have a choice of which you call it tunnels or doors I can go to.
Gotcha.
So I can choose. Other souls can't choose that, or aren't ready to choose that.
Interesting. Now I want you to continue and drift down.
And it's just like there's all these options for me that I have pulled by my heart, which one to go to, and it's to the right. And I believe it's not for teaching or guiding. It's going to another void space and then eventually going back into human form.
All right, I want you to go through that area that you're being drawn toward. And
for a moment, I think, do I really want to do this again?
Well, I'm sure it's as you mentioned, you're a tough soul. So let's go to that where you come out of the end of that portal, and you're drifting down deeper and deeper. And I want you to tell me, what do you see in that next life? Describe that to me. Where are you now?
God, I don't know. I'm feeling like Luisa, but
well, that's all right. Just take your time. So let's look at that life when you're back in 1262 as Isabel to modern day. In your
Yes.
mind's eye, during that 850 odd, 50, 60 year stretch, what number pops you had? How many other lives you have between Isabel and Luisa in modern
Uh,
day?
3 or 4.
All right, 3 or 4. Now let's go step back a little bit from Luisa in between those lives. Between Isabel and the life as Luisa now. One of those 3 or 4 lives, was it 3 lives or 4 lives in between? What number feels better?
But it's not that. There could be future lives as well that have already happened, and
Okay.
it's not linear. It doesn't go consecutively.
I understand. Well, if we just kind of are on a linear thing, if we look at it that way, between Isabel and Luisa, let's look at those 3 in between there.
Okay.
Was any one of those harder?
There was 3, but one was very short.
Okay, one was short. There was 3 other ones. And just give me a brief, quick synopsis of the life after Isabel. What was that life? We don't have to go into it too deep. Just kind of say, what was that like? What do you remember?
It's very hard.
Now, I can imagine just relax, drifting down deeper and deeper. What images would pop in your mind?
A young boy.
Or you're a young boy and you're drifting down deeper and deeper. And describe yourself a little bit. How old are you?
He's young. Again, I think it's Europe. He's happy. He's well dressed, and he's running and giggling.
Okay, good. So it sounds like a better life than that other life as Isabel. And where do you think you live? Where's this boy from? What country? What does it feel like if you had to hear the language? Like if somebody called your name, like, hey, so-and-so, come home. Let's say your mother or father, if you had one, are calling you. What was your name?
It would have to be maybe German.
Okay.
German.
And what name, if you had to hear it in your ears again back then, what name did they call you? What was your name?
I don't know.
All right, well, that's okay. Just relax. I want you to drift down and kind of observe the boy. And as he's a young boy, let's go into he's 15 or so, or 20. Do you see him at 15 or 20?
It's very different.
Okay, go ahead.
He's not as joyful and childlike and innocent.
Okay, and why is that? What's he unhappy about?
I think he has internal suffering, so not external. So externally, it's great. So even though he might be from a good family or a wealthy family, he has internal suffering. So it's different from the last life, the external to the internal.
All right, so you feel this man, this boy. Let's see if you see. Do you see him at age 20?
Yes, on a horse.
All right, so he's on a horse. And does he have depression in his life? What do you feel inside? What do you think about him?
I feel that he needs to live up to expectations and he doesn't want to fight in a war.
I understand.
He's afraid to die.
Okay, well, he's on a horse. And do you see him at 20 or between 15 and 20? How old is he on the horse?
He's very good on a horse. It
Good.
actually makes him happy being on a horse.
Okay.
He loves horses. He's very sensitive, but he has to act, due to his position, he has to act in a certain way, and he's not as brave as people would like him to be.
All right.
He's too sensitive.
That's it. Okay, that's good to know. Now, did you still feel he's in Germany at this time as a 20-year-old? Or what country?
I just got Prussia, but I don't know.
That's fine. Just drift down deeper, deeper. And let's say he's 20-year-old riding a horse. And what was he doing was he living at home still, or did he have a job, or what was he doing at age 20? Obviously, he's a good horseman, but what else?
He likes to write.
Okay.
He's educated. He thinks deeply.
Good. Now, go ahead.
He's worried if there's a war coming. He wouldn't be a man if he didn't fight.
But he doesn't really want to go, does he? Now.
He doesn't. It's just the way it is.
I understand. And are we in like Prussia or Germany or something like that back then?
Yes.
Okay. And if you had to pick a year in your mind, what year would this be? What are the first two numbers?
15 something.
So it's 15 something. Let's look at those second two numbers. What would those numbers be? 15 what at age 20? At age 20.
1573.
So it feels like 1573, and you're 20 years old, you're riding a horse. Let's go forward a little bit. Do you see him at age 25?
Yes, he's been injured.
All right, well, let's don't get emotionally involved. You're just relaxing. It's 25. Now, is he injured in a war before age 25?
Yes.
Okay. Now, who was he? Who were they fighting? If you're in Prussia, who were they fighting in 1573? Or give or take.
No.
Does it feel like the French, the Spanish, Portugal, England?
It feels like he went abroad to fight.
Oh, he
not
went.
in his own country.
I see. So he went to another country. Do you see him on?
And he didn't want to. But otherwise he would. Yes, he would be unworthy.
I see. Now, do you see him on a boat going somewhere else, or what do you see?
No, just a long trek.
Okay, so was he on a horseback, or do you have to walk?
On a horse.
All right, so was he privileged enough to be on a horse? Was he an officer?
Yes.
Was he an officer?
He was.
Okay,
and then I see him injured writing, but he still wasn't at home. He wasn't well enough to travel.
I see. So let's go to that point. How old was he when he was injured? When did the war start?
I don't know, but I think he was 26 when I see him writing a letter to his family saying he's alive but injured.
Okay, good. And how was he injured? Do you remember? What did he suffer from in the war? How was he hurt?
I believe he fell off his horse, but he also had a knife wound or a wound to his leg. But he was almost happy that he was too injured to fight anymore, secretly. But he'd never tell anyone.
I understand. Now, let's see. You see him at 26, and he's writing a letter home. And who did he write that letter to? Is it to his parents or who?
He wanted to write one to his mother, but he addressed it to his father. And he knew his father would read it to his mother.
Okay. Well, that was
But he also felt privileged because he could read and write.
And that was pretty rare back then, I presume. And what rank was he in the army? Did they give him a title of any type?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I want you to drift down deeper. And we're going to kind of leave that life. He was injured. I presume he made it home. Did he live a long life in that life?
I believe so. He was content.
Okay. So let's go to the end of that life. How old was he when he passed away?
46.
46. And what did he die from?
Old age.
So that was considered old age pretty much. Now, did he go back to the same place you went after being Isabel? Did he go back to that same location when he died, or where did he go this time?
It seems like he went to a place similar but with a lighter frequency. It was light. It had a lighter vibration. Not that the other one was bad as heavy.
Right.
The other one was more, the first one was more nurturing and healing. Maybe that's what the soul needed.
Okay.
It was more like a cotton wool. But this one, the soul didn't need such rehabilitation.
I see. Interesting.
That's what it feels like. So even though it was in a tunnel of void,
Yes.
the soul didn't need so much nurturing.
And when he went back, did he go back to his same soul group, or was this a different group?
Same.
All right, so we went back to the same area. Are we still on about
But
this?
it was a lighter frequency.
Does it feel like a higher frequency, like he evolved to a certain level, like a higher level?
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
Okay. So maybe did he go to a higher dimension, like maybe the 8th dimension from the 7th, and that's what you feel, or what do you feel?
I just feel, if I could explain it, it feels that it was lighter. It feels,
okay.
You know, if you walk into a room and it feels heavy or it feels light.
Yes.
You know, like good vibes or bad vibes. That's how it just feels easier. It feels lighter. It feels fresher.
Even better than the place Isabel went. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's stay there for a little bit. Let's go to that life, even though it's not linear. Let's go to that life after that war soldier dying at 46. What was that next life in that sequence coming up to Louise? What was that next life? If we had to go back and see that in our mind, just relax, drift down. Like, what do you see this time?
Oh, this is so really challenging me.
Well, just drift down, just relax, no hurry. But kind of see what comes in your mind maybe as you're drifting down deeper and deeper. We've left the life from the other side. And we're seeing maybe all these wormholes again, choices to make. Do you see another choice or another wormholes in front of you to make a choice?
I do. I see a woman who was some sort of, not a mystic, but she didn't consider herself a mystic, but very interested in things other than what the church told, in alternative mysticism.
I understand. Cool. Well, let's look at that a little bit. I want you to drift down and view her in more detail. And as you're viewing her, how old is she at that time? As you see her as this...
I see her... I see almost the end of her life, but I'm looking down from above, so I guess she's died.
All right, let's look down. How did she die?
You would say like she's in a tower, and she's chained, her legs are chained, and she's been starved to death. It's not sad, it's just what it is, but I'm looking from above.
All right, well, let's do this. Let's go a little bit, we're not getting emotional, let's go into that tower. And let's I'm going to be maybe standing over somewhere, you might feel my energy in a corner of this tower. And let's kind of look at this tower, and she's chained in this tower. Who chained her in this tower? Who was involved? But why would they do that?
I believe it was someone in a position of power who either said, I think she knew some universal truth, who wanted to understand how she could do or see how she had the sight to see certain things. Interesting.
Yeah, tell me about that. What kind of talents or what kind of psychic gifts did she have?
She didn't consider herself a psychic. She could read energy.
Okay.
So you could say she predicted the future. She didn't predict the future. She predicted energies, and she could see future events. She could see people, and she had that same sight where she could go above and scan a land or a house. She just was a very sensitive to energies.
So she brought down some of the talents that she had even in that earlier Indian life with the lush Grand Canyon. Is that right?
Yes, and also she could she could read the energies of wars, who was on the battlefield. Not that she liked doing that, but she was coerced to do that, but she could read the most likely probable events, and she was very accurate. She didn't even know how she did it herself.
Now, did she read events, and where was this tower? What country, in your opinion?
I'm going to have to say Europe again. That's all I can think.
Well, let's say Europe. Just relax and drift down deeper and deeper. And after we left that life in 1573, even though it's not linear, as a war soldier, died at age 46, and now you see her in this tower somewhere in Europe. Yeah. If you had to look at the century, what would be the first two numbers?
I just got 18, but I have to say 17.
All right, so let's just kind of relax and drift down. And you're seeing maybe a
She's
17.
she's not that old. Maybe in her early 20s, like 22 when I see her dead.
Okay.
She's very petite.
Okay. Now, when did they discover she had this gift? How old was she, if you look back a little farther? How old was she?
Her mother used to made the mistake of selling her gifts to people.
Okay. So her mother saw she had a talent to make some money, and they used her for that. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. And after a while, people maybe in power heard about her.
Yes, because it was too predictive, and the church didn't like it either.
All right. So they ended up putting her, to shut her up? Is that why they locked her and starved her in this tower?
No, it's because someone in a position of power wanted to keep her and just to use her as his constant informer and to understand, to study her and understand how she could have these abilities and how she could predict these events. They were interested in that.
Okay. And then what? She wouldn't play along, and that's why they chained her up, or what happened?
I don't know. She just wouldn't give him what he wanted. That's all I know.
Okay. So here you are, and what was her name in that life? What do you feel? What was her name? What did it feel like?
Rochelle.
Okay, so you think her name was Rochelle, and does this feel like France too, or England, or what?
Oh God, I don't know. But I know this. I don't know that. I don't know.
Well, we had to look at a map of Europe. You just separate yourself and look down at a map. And it's not going to look the same as it does today. It might be close, but where does it feel that tower, this power center was? Was it a well-known town by today's standards, or not really?
I think I don't know where she was born. I think she was born in a city.
Okay. So was this tower out in the middle of nowhere, or was it a kingdom, or was it part of a bigger town, or that still lives that's still around today, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think it was part of not a castle, but like an estate.
Okay.
And she was locked in this room at the top. There was light coming in. She knew she was above. Even though she was chained to the wall, she couldn't look out the window.
Okay, and how long did she make it at age 20 in that tower? How long did it take her to starve? Like how old was when she passed?
It's almost like I think she was there for 2 years or something, but it's almost like she starved herself.
So she wanted to pass away, is that correct?
She didn't want to. She realized she had sensitive information and she was ready to die for it and not to offer it into the wrong hands.
I see. Now, when we look at that estate, where is that? Is that in France, England, or Germany? Spain? What pops in your mind? Portugal? What comes to mind?
I got like Liechtenstein. I don't even know how that came into my mind.
Well, that's fine. It could be Liechtenstein. Who knows? But it feels like it was far away a long time ago. You're in this tower. And she didn't want to share the information, give it to the wrong people, I guess. And when you see her pass away in the tower, do you see yourself coming out of your body? And who came and found her when she had died?
Well, it's interesting because I can observe her very clearly from above. So this time, obviously, I was interested in looking at the body.
All right, tell me about that.
Just, like even dirty. It was dirty and filthy, and it really made me realize it's just flesh and bones. I wasn't upset, but it was really just flesh and bones that were left, and I guess it was sad in some ways, such a waste of we're all beautiful in our humanness.
Yes.
I said to stay there for a long time above and looking at her.
All right, so you stayed above. Who came and found her starved to death or passed away? Who came?
I don't know. I think one of the servants or staff.
Okay. Now let's kind of look at that scene, and if you had to go back and see yourself in that tower, and you have chains on your legs, you said, was there chains on both legs or one leg or what?
I want the right leg, but I wasn't. I wasn't afraid. I just
Okay.
wasn't afraid.
So that was probably good. It wasn't hard. Did you believe in reincarnation in that life? Did you believe you would survive this life? Or
Um,
what were your beliefs based on your sixth sense abilities?
I obviously believed in God. I believed that. I didn't think when we die, we just die as a body. I believed that I'd seen too much about energy, and I guess now you call it quantum, whatever it might be. I'd seen too much how how I could manipulate energy and how energy could be directed and read, that there had to be something more. I realized that I was energy. So no, I didn't think I was that was it.
So
I think I realized that everything was energy and I could see energies in people and things.
okay. So you weren't too scared when you passed away.
But I wasn't scared while I was chained either. I
Okay,
was strong.
and good. And let me ask you this: how long did you stay there after you passed away? How long did your conscious stay there and hang out at the tower? And
Until they took the body.
okay, so they took your body and what did they do with it?
Don't know, that's when I left. But then my body might have been there for, I don't know, a day or two. I just watched from above, interested.
Okay, so you
I
ended up,
maybe watched how the energy dissipated from the physical body as my soul moved away. Maybe
yeah,
that's what I was
describe
interested.
that. Tell me what that looked like to you as you saw yourself coming out of your dead
It's
body.
almost like, those timers that are grains of sand. You know, the grains of sand, like grains of sand, but which is energy or life, that slowly just left the physical body. It just slowly left the physical body, the life force.
And
It
that,
was interesting to observe.
yeah, what did it look like coming out of you?
It looked like a gold liquid coming up to me into my consciousness. So it came to my soul, to my consciousness, like a cord or a train.
Okay.
And it slowly started from, it's kind of like melted to me. So, and it melted and then my body was just a body. It was nothing. There was no life in it, but it was interesting to observe. It's almost like I needed to wait until I could collect all the energy from my body that was still residing there until I was able to leave, it's an interesting concept, but it didn't take 1 second to die. It took a long time to die. Now, I was dead for a long time, but it took a long time to collect all my energy from the body.
Interesting.
That makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Well, that's good. So you're here, you're looking at it, you're waiting to collect all the energy. And let's say we got to that point and you're drifting down deeper and deeper. And you're seeing the dead body, you're seeing maybe one of the servants come and find you, passed away a day or so later. And where did that energy go? Where did that conscious go? Did it look for another wormhole or did you know where to go?
It somehow feels strange, but I think maybe I stayed on the roof, like looking down for a while.
No, that's fine. How long? If we had to put it in Earth years, how long did you stay on top of that roof and just looking around, you think?
Like 5 years, like a long time.
All right, you stayed there for a long time. And is it because you weren't ready to go back or you didn't know where to go back? Or you just didn't thought, what the hell, I like this, I'll just stay on the roof. Or what were your thoughts over that 5 years?
Well, 5 years it wasn't that long, but it was, why was I there? I guess it was familiar.
So you felt pretty comfortable there and you didn't mind being there until you were chained up. Is that right?
Yes, and then so after that, I just realized one day it was time to move on as my consciousness.
Okay, and where did that conscious go when it was time to move on?
Maybe that life, that energy was so strong that the physical residue still remained in that room.
Okay, you wanted to wait to collect, make sure everything was collected. It took time,
Um,
and then once you got it back, you decided to hang out on the roof for a while because it felt familiar. And how did you feel on the roof? How did your soul feel? Did it feel free? Did it feel like you weren't starving anymore? What did it feel like?
I wasn't. I just was a golden ball. I felt like a golden ball of light.
Okay.
I had it, but I still, for some reason, I still had the etheric body of the etheric shape of the girl who was changed.
Now let's talk about that for a moment. So you were almost you're like an earthbound spirit or soul.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know why.
Well, sometimes souls like to stay around, and if we look at, you said 5 years, but in ghost time that could have been a day or so. You wouldn't know the time.
Yes.
So let's say you stayed there. Now, as you're going there and you're on the roof and you're hanging out as like this ghost, where did you go all over the plant, all over the house? Did you go back in the tower and hang out in there? Or did you just go anywhere you wanted to?
I didn't have any ill intent. I didn't have any. I just think it was an experience, and maybe I knew that I had to wait till my physical etheric body dissipated till I could move on to the next level. It was like I was almost a bit stuck there.
All right.
Stuck. I didn't feel stuck, but I just couldn't move to the next layer or level until that had dissipated.
I understand. So you were aware.
Maybe when I say I sucked up the energy from the dead body, maybe I did it in the wrong way. I don't know if there's a wrong way or a right way, but maybe the way I separated kept me there for longer. I'm not sure.
Interesting. Well, let's go to there. Now, did anybody ever notice you as the ghost of that girl? You said you were somewhat visible, I think. Did anybody in the household ever say, whoa, or any animals or anything ever notice your ghost spirit?
Not that I know of. I think people could feel it, but not. I think there was a definitely. I can even feel it now. There's such a strong energy in that room.
Well, let me ask you this. As a spirit or a ghost, when you went through the house and observed the people that were still there living, that were alive, could you hear their thoughts or hear them, or what did it feel like? Tell me what it was like to interact with them in a spirit form.
It was powerful because they couldn't see me.
Right, but could you hear them or read their thoughts or read their lips, or because you didn't have ears? How'd that work?
Well, the thing is, I don't think I needed to leave the room to see the whole house.
All right, so wherever you were, you felt like you could see it through any room, pretty much.
Yes, I could read everything.
So you knew what people were thinking in the house, and is that true? Could you think
It is, but it didn't interest me so much what they were thinking because they were just probably insignificant human thoughts. But
right.
It would be easy for me to merge into them if I chose to.
I understand. So you could literally, did you feel as a spirit or a ghost that you felt that if you wanted to merge inside them with their energy, is that possible?
Yes.
Now, was your soul or spirit energy strong enough to take over their body if you wanted to, or is that divinely not allowed? In other words,
I wouldn't do that because I'm not a lower energy. I wouldn't do that. That's not right. I'm assuming I could do it, but it's like saying, would you murder someone? You just wouldn't do it. Yes, I could, but I just wouldn't do it because that would be against the rules.
Against the law, universal laws?
Against the law, yes, that's the word. I could, but
so you knew you could take over another body and take over that personality. Did you feel like you had the power?
I thought that, but I believe if I went that dark, I could, yes.
All right, so you felt you had the energy to do that if you wished, but you didn't want to.
It wouldn't cross my mind to even do that. But
okay.
Yes, I would.
All right, well, that's interesting because you were advanced enough as a soul to kind of know the ropes. I mean, you're having a lot of lives, you're coming in and out, you're going through these wormholes. And after that life is the young mystic, the young female mystic in a tower. Do you see this state? Do you see the country yet in your mind? What country would that be? If you had to pick one. Liechtenstein, is that what you said?
I don't know. It's really hard.
No, that's fine. Well, I want you to drift down deeper and deeper. And let's go to the life between that one and the life as Luisa. Was there only one life in between there, that mystic life and the life of Luisa? Only one more life in between there, or was there more?
I feel I feel that there was two. I feel one, there was a child that I died young.
Okay,
like
that's
a
right.
baby.
Okay, you died young maybe. Okay, what would be the other life? If you had to drift down deeper and deeper, just relax. You went back to their soul group, and now you're popping back out into another wormhole before
I
this
feel
life.
like it was some life in, like during the last World War One or something like that. I feel that.
Okay, well, let's kind of drift down deeper and deeper, feeling more and more relaxed. And we're drifting down deeper and deeper. And do you feel like this was like early 1910s, 14, 15? What year would it be? Was
I
it?
think it was 19. Maybe it was World War. I just got 1921, but then it wouldn't be World War One, would it?
Well, I don't know how long that dragged out for, to be honest. I don't know if it was that long or not. But anyway, were you in that war? Do you see yourself as a soldier in that war?
I see myself almost like in a prison camp, and all I see is there's a man there, and he's got a uniform on, and he looks at me, he smiles, and I know him. Like, I look at his eyes and I know his soul.
You
And I
know,
want to run to him to say, not you've saved me, but like, hello, I'm so excited to see you. And he telepathically communicates to me, just pretend you don't know me.
okay, and he was on the other side and you were a prisoner, is that correct?
I don't know if that was the word, the prisoner is the right word. Maybe it's the right word. Yes, maybe.
All right, let's look at him. And you identified him as a soul. Did you know him from other lives, you think? That he was
I
in
just
this?
recognize his eyes.
Okay. So you recognize eyes. Describe his eyes to me. What did this guard or soldier look like?
They were blue and glaring, and I wouldn't recognize his face, but they were just, I just knew his eyes.
You knew his eyes.
And he could communicate to me without talking.
Interesting.
It was very strange.
Now, how old were you in this camp, do you feel? Were you male or female?
I was female. I must have been about 19.
19, okay. Now, why were you in this camp? Did they round you up? Did the other side take over? Or how did that work? Describe that situation to me. And who ran the camp? What were back in the world? It was around World War One. Who ran that camp? Were they German? What were they? Were they?
I don't know. Maybe it was Russian. I don't know. I don't know how I got there. I keep thinking, I don't know, but I keep thinking, if only I didn't go to that spot on that day.
You would have not been captured.
Something like that.
Okay. Now let's think back. You're drifting down deeper and deeper, getting more and more relaxed. You see yourself as a female. Let's go before you were captured that day. Go about 6 months earlier in that life and describe yourself. What was your name in that life? Just take your time and relax.
I think something like Anna.
All right, maybe Anna. And then you were how old? Let's say you were 18 before you were captured. Okay?
I had it was like not poor family, a loving family.
Good. Did you have a lot of brothers and sisters in that life?
A few brothers and sisters, yes, and like a middle class. Well, there's no middle class then, but yes, a family that loved me.
Good. Now, if you had to look back, and you did mention Russia. Do you feel that you're somewhere over near Russia at this point in World War One, or where are you? Are you not in Europe anymore? You're more in Russia, or what do you think?
I don't know.
All right, I want you to relax. You felt your name was Anna, perhaps, correct?
Yes.
And what was your father or mother's name? What'd you call them?
I'm assuming it was like Papa or something like that.
Well, we could say Papa, but did he have a first name that other people knew him as? Like, what would say some of the town folk? What would they have referred to him as?
Something like R-O, I don't know, R-O-L-R-O-N.
Okay, that's fine. And did your mother have a name, or what'd you call her?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I want you to drift down deeper and deeper and describe what you were wearing when you got caught. What were you wearing? Describe your outfit. Did you have shoes on? Did you have a...
Yeah, I had shoes.
Okay, and what else?
I think I was even wearing like slacks, like pants.
Okay, maybe some type
Which
of...
would be unusual.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what they were doing, but you think you might have had...
I don't know.
Yeah. Some type of pants on. Do you think you had those on because what? You were trying to hide as a boy, you were a woman, or what? Did they try to enlist you in war to help out on your side, or what, before you got caught? Did your town folk...
I don't know. I felt like I was a free spirit and I was being rebellious, maybe wearing pants. I don't know.
Okay. Well, let's go to that time when you got captured. How did they capture you? What do you remember? Did they capture you and others, or just a bunch of you?
I think they caught a bunch of us. I was looking around to get away. There was no way to get away.
Did they have a lot of soldiers?
Soldiers and guns.
And what color were their outfits? They all have a similar uniform?
They're similar, but I just thought how upset my parents would be.
Did they not get caught and sent to this camp?
No, they didn't. I'd gone somewhere. I remember that thinking, if I only hadn't gone to that place on that day.
So your parents, did they ever find out you were caught in this camp or not?
I don't think so.
All right, let's go to age 19. You said you were in your camp and saw this guard with blue eyes that you telepathically would communicate. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, but he would say, pretend you don't recognize him.
Right. Now, did he help give you food and stuff? Did he try to help you in that camp, even though he couldn't say he knew you, or what?
I think he did help me, but he had to be very careful. I think he was a senior person in the camp, but he couldn't work out how he knew me either.
Okay, that's interesting. So he didn't know it, but he just felt this strong, like, deja vu or something, but he couldn't explain it, like you. Is that correct?
Yes.
But he just knew somehow. He knew you from somewhere else. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
And he knew you were friends or whatever somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I want you to drift down deeper and deeper, and you see yourself at 19. Were you at the camp at 21 or 2, or did you ever get let go, or what?
I don't see much of the rest of my life in that life. I don't know if I was shot. I don't know.
All right, let's go forward to 21. Do you see yourself at age 21? And you're just...
Yes, I'm looking out a window in a kitchen.
All right, you're looking out of a window in a kitchen. Okay. Now, who owns this kitchen? Is that your house? Are you married? Or who owns the kitchen?
I think I'm staying with some people in an old apartment.
All right. Does that mean you were released from that concentration camp? Is that correct?
I believe so. I don't know how it happened.
All right. So you don't remember the days where they just said, hey, you guys can go free or whatever. You don't see yourself walking out? Okay. But all of a sudden now you're in this kitchen and you feel that you know these people from where again?
I think they were kind people that offered to take me in because I had nowhere else to go. I don't know what happened to my family.
All right, so you don't know what happened to your parents. Do you feel that if you look back with your mind's eye, could they have been killed in that war or sent somewhere else, or you don't know?
I think that when I came out of the camp, the world had changed.
And it wasn't for the better, I guess, huh?
No.
All right, you came out of the camp. Now, drifting down deeper and deeper, you came out of the camp. You're in this kitchen. You're looking out the window. The people that took you in are very nice. What were their names and what language did they speak?
I don't know, but I think it was Russian.
All right, so you feel you might have been in a camp in Russia. Now, Was it German soldiers that held you, or was it somebody else in World War One? Was it World War One? Is that what you feel?
I believe so. Maybe it was even Russian soldiers.
Okay. Did they take over? Was it after World War One or well, you said 1921? Yeah. So they came to you. They gathered a bunch of you up. They put you in this camp. After a while, you got out of the camp. You don't remember how. And next thing you're in this kitchen, and some nice people took you in. Now, go to age 25. Do you see yourself at 25 or 30? What do you see at age 25 or 30? Are you still alive?
I think I am. I think I have children. I don't know.
All right, we'll just drift down deeper and deeper. And let's say you do have children. Kind of visualize maybe that man you were involved in your mind. Just drift down deeper, deeper. And see if you can visualize maybe what the person you had children with looks like. And can you describe them? What do he look like?
Dark hair. They do kind of look, I don't know what Russians look like, but kind of dark hair.
Okay, go ahead.
Brown eyes. Solid build.
Pretty tough?
I don't know if I really loved him, but then, you didn't always have to be in love with someone.
Right, so you weren't sure you were in love. How many children did you have?
2.
And what, was it a boy or a girl, or 2 boys or 2 girls? What were they?
A boy and a girl.
Good. Do you remember their names?
No, but I remember that I was grateful that we had enough food for them.
Okay, so was it a pretty hard time back then after the war?
I don't know hard, it's just the way it was. And it was cold.
Cold, away up there. Now, go ahead.
No, it's just life. But when you say it's hard, it's just what was for everyone.
Understand. And if we go forward, you see yourself at 35 or 40?
Yes.
All right. Now, you're getting older now at 40. Do you see your children are older now? Did they both live into their 20s or older?
The son's gone off somewhere. I think the daughter's married.
Okay. And where do you think your son went off to?
I don't know. He had dreams and hopes, and I never heard from him. I think he was still alive, but I don't know.
Okay. Well, let's keep going down deeper and deeper. Do you see yourself at 45 or 50?
Old.
How old did you live?
Probably not more than that age.
All right, so if we had to pick a number...
55 maybe.
All right, so you feel 55 comes to your mind, and were you pretty frail at this point, or what?
Not frail, maybe I had some sort of disease, I don't know.
All right, let's go to age 55, and let's kind of drift around. Is your husband still alive?
Yes.
So is he, I want you to go to the last moments. Is he at your bedside? Are you in bed, or where are you?
I think I'm in a hospital.
Okay, you feel you might be in a hospital. And is this a hospital, you think a Russian hospital?
Something like that.
Now describe kind of your room to me, while you're laying there. Describe what the bed looks like, or was there any equipment? What was going on in there? What kind of equipment? Do you have any equipment or what?
No, it was just almost like a hospice. So I knew I was going to die. It was very simple beds, but it was a room with lots of people in there in beds. It wasn't just me.
All right, so there was lots and lots of people in this big... Go ahead.
Yeah.
So it's a big room full of a lot of beds, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right, were they all suffering from the same thing, or were they just put everybody when they were old and dying? Did they all have the same disease,
I think everyone had different ailments, but I just think it was definitely sort of maybe a room with little hope.
Okay, well,
under-resourced. But it was okay. I just tried to shut out all the noises and
good. So now
focus on the peace.
Now, did your daughter come and visit some times in your last days, or just your husband?
Yes, I told her not to worry.
Good. So let's picture your daughter at your bedside. How old was she when you passed?
30 or 20, late 20s, 30.
Okay. And how many children did your daughter have? Did you like the grandchildren? Were they nice or what? Did she have grandchildren?
I think she had a son.
Okay. And what was your son-in-law
She
like?
wasn't very, I worried about her because she wasn't very strong emotionally.
Okay, you did worry about her. And what was her husband like, in your opinion? How would you rate him?
I didn't mind him. I think he cared for her. He was a good provider.
Okay, good. So here you are in this hospital. Your husband's still alive. Let's say he's at your bedside. Was he there in your last moments?
No.
Okay. So was he out working or something, you thought? Or
Yes, he was working.
he was working that day. Okay. And what month was that you passed away? Do you remember?
I think it was March.
All right, March. And what day?
Tuesday the 7th.
So March, Tuesday the 7th. And what year was that, if you had to pick a year in your mind?
I have no idea.
All right, so it was March. Okay, but you think it was a Tuesday, March 7th.
Yeah.
And you feel you're how old again?
Late 50s.
Late 50s or mid 50s?
Late 50s.
All right, so now you're late 50s. Was it 58 or 9? Or less? 7, 6?
Maybe 59.
All right, so you think you made it to 59. You're not sure what year it is.
No.
But you're pretty darn sure you passed away on a Tuesday. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you felt strongly it was March 7th. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And it was in the 1900s. Let's take away the 19. And if we had to look at the last two numbers in your mind, what two numbers might pop in your head for that year that you passed?
I would have to say 40s. That's all I can think.
Okay, so you think it might have been in the 40s. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it wasn't a very nice hospital. It was just sort of a simple, huge room with a bunch of sick people. Is that right?
Well, in the concept of my reality, there was no nice or not nice. It's just what is.
Right. So for the time, for the time.
I didn't know better.
Okay, I understand. So for the time and location, they were doing what they could for people.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want you to go right there at your moment of your death, and in your mind, yes or no, was that life where you passed away in the 40s in Russia, was that the life prior to being Luisa now? Just yes or no?
No.
All right. What life did you have after that? Was that short life, or was that another one?
I don't know. I just feel that there was something.
Something in between that life and the 40s?
It doesn't. I don't even know if it was a life. I don't know. Maybe it was a lesson.
Okay.
A lesson up there. I don't know.
All right, so you don't know if it was, but in your mind's eye, you knew there was other consciousness, but you don't think it was maybe an earth life. Is that correct?
I just knew I was doing something. I just don't know what it was.
Okay, well, that's fine. But you don't feel it, do you feel it was on earth, or you're not sure? Or do you think it was just maybe on the other side? Is that what feels stronger to you?
It almost as if I came to earth energetically, but not in the physical form.
I see. So you might have come down as more of an observer spirit.
Yes.
Where you might have just been on earth as a spirit coming down to observe and gain experiences. But you necessarily did not take on a human form that we know. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's look at that. You went back, you died, you passed away, you're in this Russian hospital. You died at late 50s, 59 roughly. You think it was in the 40s. 40 what? 1940 what? What year would that have been? Okay.
I don't know.
But you remember, and what day did you die on again?
Tuesday. Did I say Tuesday or Monday the 7th? Monday the 7th or?
Well, you said Tuesday earlier.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, March 7th, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. But we're not sure of the year, but we think it's sometime in the 40s. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And we feel that maybe did we go back after that life? Did you see yourself coming out of your body in that hospital?
Not really for that one.
Okay. What do you remember? Your husband was working. Was there a nurse around that come over and say, oh, she's passed, or how'd that work?
think I just remember my daughter crying, that's all. I don't really remember anything else, and then I went to sleep.
Okay. Okay. So your daughter might have been there when you passed?
Yes.
Or soon after? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you go back in your mind's eye, yes or no? Did you go back to your soul family for a while, then come back down as a spirit in between Luisa and that life?
I think I just almost went to a resting place, and then I just went to a place to rest. That's what I felt.
Now, at that resting place, give me a little background on that. Was that a place where you would go and your soul would kind of meditate and just get re-energized? Or tell me about it.
It was just a place to re-energize, and it's almost like I knew what was coming, what I was to do as a soul on the earth. But it was just, I didn't think I needed to go to that next level to my soul family and have that communication, or I could communicate with them while I was a singular soul in the resting place. I didn't need that collective consciousness.
So you could communicate with them from wherever, telepathically or however, energy-wise?
Yes, if I chose to.
Good. So you didn't physically have to be with them on the 7th or 8th dimension. Is that right?
It was very clear how I imagined before, but I didn't necessarily need to do that anymore.
Interesting. Well, let's drift down deeper and deeper. And we're going past the life of Luisa. And let's continue out farther on, since it's not linear time. And I want to just drift down deeper and deeper. And let's go, we're not going to know when you pass, but let's go beyond the life of Luisa. And what life do you see after that? What future life do you maybe see?
God.
And just relax, drifting down. And let's say you go through another wormhole after this life, and maybe you make another choice. And tell me when you get to the end of that tunnel, are you male or female, or are you somewhere else, or where are you?
It's almost like I go back to that place. You know when I told you in the beginning that I was on the rock?
Yes.
With the universe? I don't know. It's almost like I'm going there.
Are you going back there because you missed that life in that lush canyon? I mean, you want to go back there and hang out for a while because you liked it, or what?
Maybe it's familiar. Maybe it is everything. Maybe it is the universe. I don't know. It just feels like I'm going
back.
Yes.
All right, let's go back to there, to that canyon, that place after this life in the future. And looking back and looking down and having the abilities you had in that life, and maybe, some version of heaven, some dimension or something. Do you feel that that's not Earth now in your mind after looking it all over?
I feel it's overlooking Earth.
Okay, so you can overlook it. But you as a person, did you look the same this other time around, or are you a little bit different this time?
I think I'm more familiar with the resonance of Luisa, so I'm feeling more feminine.
Okay.
Still have that indigenous connection. I think I'm more connected to the earth, or you could call it grounded. I don't know what you want to call it. I have a wiser understanding of life. Lives.
Gotcha. Now, let's kind of look at that for a minute. And, if we just hear whispered in our ears, our telepathic mind, and let's say kind of in that valley area. But this time I want you to maybe see if we can bring in some others to this lush valley, this lush canyon look on the rock. Can we try, or can I help try to bring in some others that might share some of how you're doing now in this life?
Sure.
All right, so I want you to kind of hang on the rock. You're feeling very relaxed, drifting down deeper and deeper. You're overlooking this beautiful, lush canyon. And I want to see if we can bring in some, and you might see me. Do you see me standing over to the side now, or do you just sense my energy? Or what am I wearing this time?
I don't know what you're wearing, but I can sense your energy.
Okay. Well, I want you to hang out on the rock, and you're relaxing, drifting down deeper and deeper. And let's see if we can bring any angels or spirit guides in to be with us on this rock. And let me know if you sense any energy. And who they might be saying they are telepathically to you.
It feels like there's lots of energies around.
Okay. Is there any particular energies that are very evolved and help you with your life lessons that might be we can bring into the rock?
It almost feels like it's me in a future version, and that man, that Native American man, is also there.
Okay, now was that the one that described that other man to me?
Just he had dark hair, a little bit pale skin, but a Native American looking spirit guide.
I see. And has he been...
Or an indigenous.
Okay. Well, in your mind, does he watch you on all your journeys, do you think? Has he been with you a long time?
I believe so.
Good.
But it's also, I guess it's a part of me as well, isn't it?
Well, maybe. I mean, it could be, or he could just be, he could be very familiar with your energies, etc.
Yes.
So he knows you pretty darn well. Since the beginning, I presume?
Yes.
All right. Now let's drift down deeper and deeper. And if you had to pick a number in your mind's eye that might come to you, how many Earth incarnations have you had as a human form? Not looking at spirits or ghosts or consciousness, but how many times did you maybe take a human form on Earth?
God, that's such a hard question.
Yeah, well, just let your mind relax.
3,100.
All right, so it feels about 3,100 lives?
Or 310 or 31, I don't know.
Okay. Well, are you still giving off a violet hue, or what's your primary color if you're on the other side? What's your primary color? What resonates? I mean, not what people tell you or what some psychic told you, but what color are you now on this by this canyon? What color would you radiate if you had to project a color not made up?
Like a deep purple, almost like the universe color, a deep purple sky.
So do you feel as a soul, when we look at these lives, do you feel you had 310 incarnations on Earth, 3,100? What number feels real to you? 31? What?
310.
All right, so you think you might have taken human incarnation on Earth 310 times. Is that what you feel?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe.
Now,
Sure.
have you had other lives, and we don't need to go over those now, but have you had other lives in Atlantis or Lemuria?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you ever see yourself in a life in Egypt or Rome or Greece in the old days?
I see Greece, yes.
Okay, now let's go back. Do you see yourself in the Middle East in biblical times?
Yes.
All right, I want to go there for a minute. I want you to drift down deeper, deeper. Drifting down deeper and deeper, feeling very relaxed. And maybe you're just kind of sitting on the rock and you're just kind of maybe got your hands around your knees. You're just kind of reflecting and meditating very deeply. And I want you to take me to that life in biblical times. And I want you to tell me, what does it feel like? What country? Where are you located? What does it feel like?
It feels... It's not the right geographical location, but it feels like the Sahara Desert, like it's just desert. And then there's these big walled cities in the middle of the desert.
All right, so you see these big walled cities in the middle of this desert.
Yes.
And are you male or female in that life?
I'm female.
All right, so you're female in that life, and I want you to picture yourself at 20. Can you do that?
Yes.
All right, I want you to see yourself at 20. And I want you to describe to me what you look like and what do you do at age 20 in that life? What is your position or job?
I have dark hair and Middle Eastern features. It's hot, but I'm covered up, except for my eyes. I'm certainly not a prostitute. I'm not used for sex, but I'm revered more like a seer. So I have the gift of sight.
Okay, so in this life you also have a gift of sight. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Now, if we had to look at a century, and it's around, back in the old days, you see a lot of sand. You see these big walled structures, cities. What century would this be?
I don't know, like 8, 9, 10.
So maybe around, if we said 800 AD, does that feel good in your mind?
900.
Okay. So let's take the 8
800.
or the 9. So we'll say 8. Now, what would be the last two numbers of that year?
51.
So you might feel like it was 851 AD or 851 BC.
I don't know. I don't know.
All right, well, let's drift down deeper and deeper. You see yourself at 20. Describe what you look like.
I think I'm very beautiful.
Okay.
I have great power, control over people. I think people listen to what I've got to say. And I associate with the very powerful people of that land.
Okay. And are they aware of your abilities, your gifts? Like, how did you become powerful?
I think I was born into a wealthy family first, and
So were your parents, like your father, maybe his grandfather, whoever, were they in control of one of these big walled cities or what?
I'm not sure, but apparently now I seem distant from my family. I don't know. My family seems far away.
All right, well, let's look at your life. And here we are, we're outside. You're at age 20. Where, it's all a lot of sand, I think you said, in these walled cities. Do you live in one of these walled cities or not?
I do, but I seem to travel quite a bit. I don't know why.
Now, when you see yourself traveling and you're drifting down deeper and deeper, are you traveling to share what you know, your wisdom? Or are you a healer also?
I wouldn't call myself a healer. Why am I traveling? I don't know. I'm traveling to a different destination. I don't know why.
Okay. But you feel like you were a seer. Is that what you told me?
Yes.
And you came from a powerful, rich family. Is that correct?
Yes, but I didn't. I think I had a choice. I could either marry in some capacity or go into some sort of religious service, and that's what I chose.
You chose the religious service? Is that what you're telling me? Okay, now what religion was this?
I wouldn't say an occultist religion. It was just.
Well, was it Muslim? Was it Christian? What was it? Was it Bedouin?
I don't know if I could even define it. I can't define it. It was a mystic religion.
All right, so it was more of an ancient type religion. Is that religion no longer around today, if you had to look back?
Not being practiced.
Not being practiced, okay. Now, did this ancient knowledge, this religious type order, was there a lot of people like you that took advantage of this and learned new things? Or where did this knowledge come from? What was the origin of this knowledge that you have? Like, where were the books from? Where was the tales being passed down through the centuries? Where did this knowledge?
You were chosen.
Okay, and you were chosen because your abilities or what?
Because of your abilities and your heart.
And who made that decision to accept you?
I would say the leaders of some sort.
Okay. Well, let's drift.
I think you could apply in some way, but it was very...
Did they test you to make sure you were worthy or...
Yes.
All right, so did you have to show them certain things you could do to show your worthiness or what?
Your ability to reach a certain spiritual height.
And how did they know that? Were they that evolved? They could tell if you were reaching certain heights. How did they know that? Could they sense your energy and just feel that from your heart vibration?
Yes, but they'd also give you tasks. Almost like, I can't do it now. It's almost like remote viewing tasks.
Okay, so you could prove to them if they said, hey, go to that walled city, tell me what's in that second building over there on the left side of the wall, you could tell them. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
So your ability was that powerful, in your opinion, back then?
Yes.
Okay. And you brought that gift down from the other side or wherever you were, in between.
I don't know. I think it was just there.
Okay. Now, when you were at that age of 20, do you see yourself at 30?
Yes.
And are you still traveling around, and what are you doing?
I'm not traveling around as much because my gifts grow stronger, so I don't need to be geographically in the location to observe
All right, so your gifts grew.
strategic
Okay.
battles or anything like that. I can do it completely remotely.
So you could literally be anywhere and do it.
Yes.
Okay, so that was quite a power to have back then. Did the people you were with, did they keep all this power separate and secret because they didn't want somebody to be captured again like you were in the tower and where the information or the abilities might fall in the wrong hands? Was that a concern back in 851?
It wasn't a concern because I was being taken care of by a powerful leader.
So he treated you pretty well. Is that what you're telling me?
Very well.
Okay, because he had a lot of respect for your abilities than you. Is that correct?
Yes, and I held while I held worth, I was valuable.
Yes. Now, do you see yourself at 40 and 50 doing the same thing, or what do you see?
Yes, I do.
All right. How long did you live in that life, do you think? What number? What year?
I get 40. Well, I get 44. I don't know why.
All right. Do you see what day you might have passed on, or what month?
Or maybe I was older. I think I don't know.
All right, but you had some pretty powerful gifts in that life. Is that correct?
Yeah, maybe it was in the 60s. I don't know.
Okay, well, I want you to just drift down deeper, deeper. Do you see yourself older now? Is your hair turning gray or what?
Yeah, I do see myself older. I think I was definitely taken care of.
So you had a pretty good life based on the fact you came from a wealthy family. Yeah, you had these amazing gifts. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you ever get married in that life or not?
I didn't, but I had a secret child.
All right, you had a secret child, and who was it with?
I think one of the guards. But they assumed that if you weren't pure, you would lose the gift.
Okay, but you had a child that didn't lose your gift. Is that correct?
Didn't lose the gift, no.
So they figured what? It was just some natural divine thing like Jesus or what?
They didn't know I had the child.
So you kept that hidden and wore what? Baggy clothes and all that?
Yes.
Okay. And who raised your child after that? One of the servants, or did you go and help them say,
One
hey?
of the servants claimed the child as their own.
Okay, so that worked out pretty well for you. Is that right?
Yes.
And your child, you were able to keep an eye on him inside the castle or wherever you were?
Yes.
Now, was it a boy or a girl?
It was a girl.
Good. Did she have powers like you also when she got older?
She did, but they were slightly different.
And what were her powers? How were they different?
She was able to do miraculous healings.
Wow. That's amazing. So was she pretty well known in that area for her miraculous healings?
Yes, she was, but she didn't get as much recognition because she was a daughter of a servant.
I understand. But you were pretty impressed by her abilities. You were proud of her as a daughter?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you said you lived pretty long. How old again?
I think 60s, which is very old.
Yes, for back then, I guess. And this was what year again, roughly?
I think, what did we say, 800?
Yeah, I was like...
Maybe it might have been earlier, I don't know.
Okay, but you did say 851 earlier. Does it feel like that, or does it feel maybe earlier at 851?
It feels earlier, but I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I want you to drift down deeper, deeper. Now, in your mind's eye, we're not concerned about that life anymore. Right now, we're just looking at this from a divine side, kind of looking to where you are. I want you to just lay there and relax, very relaxed. You're down and you can feel yourself on your bed in Sydney, Australia, just relaxing. but you still feel this very deep trance-like state where the answers can come to you. And I want to see if we can bring in some angels or ascended masters into your room. Can we do that?
Sure.
All right, I want you to lay there on your bed, relaxed, eyes closed. And I want you to feel what energies or who we might, maybe an archangel, maybe somebody's name you recognize. And I want them to come into your room. I don't want you to tell me who you see or who's there. What energies do you sense?
Just what comes to mind is Archangel Michael and Archangel Gabriel.
Good. So let's let them be in the room. And are they in the room because they help you a lot as well on the other side? And are they happy with what we're doing with you today?
Yes, they come when I call them.
Good. So Michael and Gabriel come when you call them, and so you feel and they help you and protect you in this life. Is that correct?
Watch over me.
No, I mean, do the angels protect you in this life if you ask them to come in?
Yes, they do.
Okay, good. Now, have they worked with Luisa and her soul going way back when? Is that what you feel?
They feel very familiar, like they've always been around.
Okay. Now let's look at that. Can we bring Jesus into the room with us or Mother Mary?
Sure, whoever.
Okay, well, let's bring them both in, Jesus and Mother Mary. And I want Jesus to come up to you while your eyes are closed and you're laying there. And you feel his presence coming closer. And I want him to touch your hand. And I want you to tell me what you feel. What do you feel when he touches your hand?
I just feel like a golden thread running up my arm.
All right, so like a golden thread running up your arm. Does his energy feel like what you'd expect from Jesus? You know, nice and calming, or what?
It feels like my heart's opening. It feels like it's like this great pressure on my heart. Not in a bad way, but like it's expanding and opening and pulsating.
Good. Well, let's let that feeling happen for a while.
Subtly.
All right, well, let's let that feeling subtly help you. And as Jesus helps your heart, in this life, making you feel stronger, more immortal, knowing more about yourself on a divine level. And let's let Mother Mary come up and touch your other hand. And I want you to tell me what that feels like. What does that feel like if she's touching your other hand?
That feels like more like a blue light.
Okay.
Running up my arm. And it feels... It feels stronger than the Jesus one. Jesus is more subtle. She's very gentle, but it just feels more activating.
Now, have you worked with them on the other side? Do you go to sometimes places where they go, meetings or whatever?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, let's look at Michael and Gabriel. I want you to just relax, drifting down deeper and deeper. Can you see Michael in your mind's eye and describe to me what he looks like to you?
I see them as large, white, etheric glows with big wings. Big, like giants almost, with big white wings.
Okay. And they're pretty darn powerful. Is that right?
All powerful, yes.
Okay. Well, I want you to continue to relax and enjoy the feeling that Mother Mary's doing on one side of your hand, or your one hand. And which hand is Jesus touching, your left or your right?
The right.
Okay, Mother Mary's on your left?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to feel their power. And I want you to let that energy come into Luisa in this life. Feeling that energy, feeling that power come in, knowing the immortality of yourself. And I want you to drift down deeper and deeper. And let's see what they can tell us about this individual that you've kept contact with in Europe, who you might have felt you know. Do they say yes or no? You've known that person in another life?
Yes.
Okay, they feel you've known them in another life. And how long ago was that life, besides this one?
I just get many lives.
All right, now was that somebody that might have been a soulmate of yours in past lives?
Yes.
So you feel pretty comfortable with them and they feel like they've known you and you've known them before. Is that right?
I'm just getting yes.
Okay, who's telling you this? Is it Michael or Gabriel or Jesus or Mother Mary?
Um, it just feels
Or like
like
they're
overwhelming energy from all of them.
okay, well that's good. Well, I want you to just relax. And how do they think Louise is doing in this life with her new course of direction, doing these neat shows and everything else? Do they feel she's doing pretty good on her soul path?
I just see them smiling.
So they're liking what you're doing. Is that right?
I believe so, yes.
Good.
Yes.
And they feel that you're helping out. You're making a contribution in this life. Is that well?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So they feel comfortable. You feel energetic from them, but I want you just to kind of keep the memories of what they look like in your mind. And what does Jesus look like to you?
It's not the look, it's the feeling. So
Okay.
the feeling, the energy that they're sending, even if they're touching their hand, my hand with their fingertips, the energy is so strong. So I don't so much see what they look like, it's the power of their energy.
I see. Okay, good. Well, I want you to just enjoy that feeling the energy coming into you, knowing they're always here to help you when you need help, and you can call them in any time. And this is just another life of many you've had. And how many lives do you think you had on Earth again, roughly?
I think I said 310, but I'm not sure.
All right, well, maybe it is around that number. And if we ask Michael or Gabriel or any of them, Jesus, Mother Mary, has Louisa had 310 lives on Earth in human form? What are they doing? Yes or no? Less? Maybe more? What are they saying?
I think they say less.
All right. Would they be more comfortable with 150, or what are they saying?
I don't know. It's so difficult. 61.
So I think you might have had 61 lives on Earth, but have you had other lives in other of God's creations?
I get yes. But I don't even know. I don't know.
Okay, but you feel like they're saying yes, not just on Earth. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want you to begin, just relax, enjoy the feeling they're giving you with the energy and everything else. And I want you to begin to see if they have any words for you now in this life. Is there anything in particular they'd like to share with you? If they had to say something telepathic to Louisa, what are they thinking?
Be gentle, and you are loved.
Okay. And those are good words, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want you to just lay there and I want you to begin to feel yourself enjoying energy. You're feeling relaxed. But you're starting to feel yourself as I count from 1 to 5. You can start to feel yourself coming up, but you're still going to feel energetic. You still feel the love, the power. You know what the energy's like. And I want you to drift up from 1 to 2, feeling yourself becoming more and more awake. Maybe wiggling your toes and your fingers a little bit. And as we drift up to 3, you can feel yourself becoming more and more awake. Starting to maybe move your eyes, stretching around a little bit on the bed. And as we count up to 4, you can feel yourself becoming more and more awake, more and more aware. Coming back to this life as Louisa. Feeling yourself waking up, starting to stretch around. Feeling good inside, feeling powerful. But also feeling calm and peaceful. As we count up to 5, you can feel yourself feeling so good, like you just had a great, great nap and you're ready to tackle the day and the week and the month and the year and feeling really good about yourself. So as you drift up, feeling yourself awake more and more, starting to blink your eyes, moving your arms, stretching around. Do you feel yourself waking up?
I do. I thought I was awake, but now I realize how deeply I wasn't.
Well, good. So I want you to continue to wake up. You're feeling yourself coming up into the real world, back to 9 a.m. your time, give or take. And
Oh my God, was that 3 hours?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
How'd it feel? How long did it feel to you?
I mean, it felt like a while, maybe an hour and 20 minutes or something.
Well, so how do you feel?
I feel good. I feel heavy. I feel good. It was just
Oh, well, you need to wake up a little more. I want you to move your hands, move your arms around a little bit, stretch out a little more, allowing yourself to become fully awake. So kind of like stretch.
I'm awake now.
Okay, so I want you to feel not so heavy, but just feeling kind of light. You want to feel a little bit lighter. Or you might feel heavier because you're coming from all these very light lives back to earth, and that can make you feel a little heavier. But you don't feel, you feel powerful though. You still feel that moral
Yeah.
energy.
What was amazing at the end was when I had Jesus and Mary's feet touching my hands with their fingertips. The power was unbelievable.
Good. So you can feel them touching your hands and feeling that energy, right?
Yeah.
Well, that energy is always available for you. What we'll do is we'll send you this recording, and you'll be able to experience that and kind of go through the lives again and kind of feel kind of what you're remembering. This will lock in more and more. And, if you listen to it, you'll begin to see other scenes of that particular life that we didn't see because we didn't have time to explore it in great depth.
David, that was so interesting. My God, thank you so much for your time. That was amazing.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. So it feels like you feel pretty good after all this.
I mean, sometimes it's hard to